IMSA TV and radio. We are in the green and pleasant lands of Virginia, and the VIR complex has seldom looked any better. It's been a bit of rain around these parts recently, which is why we've got some green areas around. It looks an absolute picture. Danville, Virginia, the closest town to VIR, that's been in operation off and on for 60 years. August the 4th, 1957, the first race here, and the cars chased down to turn 1 and then up to the old oak tree, turn 12, going up through the S's. No oak tree there anymore, but the challenge still remains down through the roller coaster at 14 and down through 17 onto the curved front straight. It was Carroll Shelby that won that first race in the Maserati 570S. The 570s this weekend come from British auto manufacturer McLaren, and they are in this race this afternoon. There would be a certain sense of symmetry if we got one of those into victory lane in 2 hours' time. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindhaugh for IMSA Radio and TV. Jeremy Shaw is with me in the IMSA Broadcast Centre. Shea Adam is our Continental Tire reporter from the pit lane. Jeremy, you're not putting any money on this, are you?
Nope. Pretty much wide open, John. I think there's a whole bunch of people think they can win this race and legitimately can.
They come in front of us to start their second formation lap. At the moment, the cars are line astern as they go by us. So
that Volt Racing Ford
stands out, doesn't it? Can somebody turn that one down a little bit? My God, my retina.
Yeah.
You will not miss that one when it's going around the circuit.
What an excellent effort by Alan Brynjolfsson, the Icelander, from Iceland, lives in Florida now, businessman down there, made a very successful career for himself. And he's been a lifelong race fan. This year, for the first time, he's had an opportunity to go professional racing, and boy, he's done a magnificent job.
Drama before the green flag. Shea Adam has this Continental Tire report.
The 31 body motion Porsche has come into the pit lane. The crew was expecting it. They were dangling the pit board, so this is not a giant surprise. There's a lot of white smoke coming out from the exhaust area. Doesn't smell like oil smoke. It's toward the left rear of the car, but they are signaling. They got the air jack out now completely in. They're taking the left rear tire off. There's a little bit of damage to the back of the car. And yeah, this is, no, that's interesting. They reconnected the tires. There's still white smoke coming out as Devin Jones goes to go back out on track. Denied. The red light is on at the pit exit. He will have to wait until everybody else sees the green flag.
Well, I presume they topped that car off as well in the pit lane there. Oh no, no fuel added is what I'm hearing. Split start here, so the 14 GS cars will have a little bit of breathing space going down into turn 1 before the remainder of the field, the 18 ST Street Tuner cars, come into our sight. We get the opportunity to have 2 starts effectively there. And James Clay and Sarah Catania. Now, Sarah will be on the outside pole. There is an opportunity here, Jeremy, in both of these classes. If you can stick with the pole man and go round the outside of the horseshoe through 1 or 2, that puts you on the inside for the left-hander at turn 3, if you can do it. Yeah. But whilst everybody's tyres are not up to temperature, that's the best chance you've got of doing that.
Probably is, certainly, because once the tyres are up to temperature, there's no way you can have enough grip to do that. But it certainly would be a very bold manoeuvre for somebody to try. It's a long, long way around if you're going to go all the way around the outside there. But yeah, it is possible. Certainly, there's going to be a lot of jockeying position on this first lap, no question about that. How cool is it to see though a Ford and a Chevrolet on the front of the grid?
Ford, Chevrolet, Porsche, McLaren,
yes,
four different McLarens.
Cool.
The variety has always been here in this championship. The Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge, cars that look different, cars that sound different, not just in GS, but also in ST, and brought together on this fantastic circuit at VIR to go racing for 120 minutes. The safety car lights are out on the Nissan GTR. It will peel right-handed into the pit lane as it comes out of turn 17. The hog pen, it's in the pit lane now, and now the field is under the control of Jack Rouse Jr. and the Core Motorsport Mustang, and I'm slowing down because that's exactly what the leader is doing, and now he hits the loud pedal. A great formation start, and Sarah Cattanio's got the jump on the rest of the ST field there and is ahead of James Clear, and ahead by some margin as the Ford holds on down through the first and second corners. It is Ford from Chevrolet in second place in GS, then Dylan Merkett in the 28 Porsche, but Sarah Cattaneo scored in second as she went across the line, so she got the power on at the right time, and James Clear is down into second position. Ford, Chevy, Porsche, McLaren, the top four, 59, 57, 28 and 69 as they climb through the six snake area and underneath the crossover bridge. Climbing the hill for the first time, clean start it would seem, but James Clear right on the rear bumper of the 44 Nissan Altima for the lead in ST. That was a really good start by Sarah Cattaneo.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't too good there, because I'm sure the stewards will be looking at that.
Well, we've seen IMSA make restitution in race situations, and early on that's possible to do that rather than perhaps do a drive-through that would ruin that car's race. We've seen it in some of the development series, the Porsche race at Watkins Glen. In fact, a pass was made whilst using the outside of the circuit off the track, and IMSA asked that team to sit back in behind the car. That restitution made, no further action taken. I'm pretty certain if that's going to happen, that will be done very quickly indeed.
Absolutely right with you. And meanwhile, it was a picture-perfect start at the front of the field by our race leaders. A great jump by Jack Rouse Jr. First pole for him since 2010, so it's been a long time, but he's a massively experienced driver, and he is fast as well. But he has got his mirrors full of Matt Bell in that Chevrolet Camaro.
And Matt Bell gets a great run out of the hog pen corner and onto the curving start-finish strip, maybe 3 car lengths, maybe a little less, as they go across the finishing line to complete the first 2.7 line. Down the inside, Matt Bell comes from a long way back and has to back out of it. One of our keys to the race is choose your passing place and choose it carefully. Turn 1 is an action area. James Clear is back to the lead of ST ahead of Sarah Cattaneo. Jeff Mosey in the 56 championship leading Porsche is in third position as the...
That's Harry Baylog.
Yeah, 81 Bimmer World car at the roller coaster, and does take a fairground ride with 2 wheels in the air, and somehow gets through the mid-pack in ST without hurting himself or anyone else. Got it all crossed up under braking for the roller coaster the first time around. The Bimmer World 81 car, then the blue and white BMW will drop to the back of the pack. And Ari Baylog's heart rate will be off the scale. He made a rev counter to count it, not a heart rate monitor.
Goodness gracious, he made a complete mess of that, but he got away with it. It was a great qualifying run by Ari to get their car well up among the top 10 in qualifying. He hadn't done that before. That was a first for him, but he's going to have some work now in front of him to make up that lost ground.
A confirmation that Bechtelsheimer had to start at the back of the GS field after not getting the car into the grid formation in the timely manner. That car did not get to the grid on time. That car having differential seals. Its team car, which is up in 8th position, the 35 car with a complete new gearbox. So a very heavy overnight session of working for the CJ Wilson mechanics under Andres. Well done to all of them to get both of those cars anywhere near the grid. Dust being thrown up again from the cars, dropping their right-hand side Continentals into the dirt through turn 16 and into the start of 17. Across the line they go, and Jack Rouse Jr. has half a second of breathing space. It's what, 3, maybe 4 cars lengths, if that. 59 Ford from 57 Chevrolet. Mustang from Camaro, that has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Then the Porsche of Dylan Merkett, the 28 championship leading car, just another half a second or less back. Chris Green is the first of the McLarens, the 69 car. That's the white and blue car. Then the bright yellow Ford of Alan Brynjolfsson, that number 7 car, easy to pick out even with a little bit of dust in the air. Behind him, lighter coloured car, that's Hugh Plum in the number 4 Porsche. Then a bit of a gap back to the 99 of Stephen Phillips. And that 99 Aston Martin, just with a bit of breathing space itself, over Russell Ward in the 35 Porsche, Cameron Castles in the 12 car, and then the rest of the field trailing in behind them. Till Bechtelsheim has already made up a position and is up to 13th position overall. His next target will be the 38 Porsche ahead of him. James Clay, 84 BMW, leads the Nissan, the bright purple Nissan, the number 44 car. Second place, Jeff Mosing in the orange, white and black 56 Porsche. Then Christian Simchak in the 34 Mazda leads a trio of Mazdas with Chad McCumbee and Tom Long sitting in right behind him. That's the top 6.
Fastest car on the track last time around was a 4th place machine. That's Chris Green in the Motorsports in Action car number 69, the McLaren. But on this lap now, Jack Roche Jr. is lighting everything up. Purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 2.
Where did Tom Long start? Because I'm sure he wasn't in the first 3 rows, and that 27 car is well up in a 6th position. They're the 2 minis in
5
ST.
places.
Yeah, that's a decent opening couple of laps, isn't it? Leaders in ST at the top of the hill, heading back towards us now, and it's the black and white BMW. James Clay, great qualifying. Oh, a little bit of damage maybe underneath the Nissan, something hanging down there. Now, is that something that's been picked up from the circuit, or is it the under-engine cover that has been working its way loose? But Sarah Cattaneo now in 2nd position. And yeah, that looks to me as though that is the engine under tray that is just hanging down there. What cruel look if that is the case. Sarah Cattaneo doing a great job in qualifying. Did 4 laps only in the car after synchromesh problems in the gearbox. Meantime, the leaders are together, the 2 dark grey cars heading up towards Oak Tree at the far end of the track from the IMSA Broadcast Centre. And Jack Rouse Jr. leads, but now by, I was going to say car's length, it's not even that.
Not even that, is it? That was the new fastest lap on that last time around by Jack Rouse Jr. 156.359. Yeah, absolutely, because this next lap, I think we're going to find Matt Bell is a little bit quicker. Already they are underneath the track record here, which was set last year by Sebastian Landy in Aston Martin, 157.977. Already eclipsed that by nearly a second and a half, by over a second and a half.
Russell Ward with a little drop in the S's, but has regained the circuit and is back away. And Sarah Cattaneo has just gone off as well at Oak Tree, and that shuffled her down 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 positions as the leaders complete their 4th circuit of VIR. Cattaneo was in 2nd in ST and is now battling with the Mini sitting in behind her. That I think is the 37 car. Yes, it is. So that's given some breathing space to James Clay. As Jeff Mosing now leading the championship, 2nd place in the race in ST. Remember, 2 classes here. The GS cars running to International Formula for GT4.
New fastest lap on this last lap again by Chris Green in the McLaren car number 69, 4th place machine.
Jack Rouse Jr. by 2/10 across the line. Oh, gets a big slide on going up the hill and had to brake to get the car back in the line before turn 10. And Matt Bell is right there in the Stevenson Chevy Camaro. He goes to the left-hand side. Rouse defending from the middle of the road, turning into the right-hander at turn 11 at Oak Tree. Now the exit's going to be crucial here. Both drivers getting a good run out onto the long back straight past the secondary pit area on their left. Diving down into the dip, there's one little rise, you go over the top into another dip, then another rise over the top, and then you're looking up the hill for your braking point to pick it out. Very difficult because you can't see where you're going. It's basically like driving off the edge of the world into the roller coaster.
Yeah, this is there's a pit stop, by the way, of number 31 car. We saw that car into the pits before the start of the race. There's nothing to choose between these leaders. Jack Rouse Jr. is not able to extend his lead over Matt Bell. Dylan Murcott is right there. Chris Green not far behind either, and Brynjolfsson and Plum.
Well, to me, I think Matt Bell got a slightly better exit out of turn 17, and he might have the opportunity to drag up alongside. We saw him having a look from there, but that Ford is strong in a straight line into the horseshoe at turns 1 and 2, and Bell is good on the brakes. He's going to try and do the old over and under and muscle his way up the inside of the 59 Ford as he heads into turn number 3, and Dylan Murcott's right there, Jeremy,
yeah, absolutely.
you know. Slightly smaller car, almost lost behind the two big muscle cars. Yes, hidden. He stealthed his way up.
Christian Shimczak.
It's not been a great weekend for Christian. He's been off the circuit a couple of times in Murillo Racing. That was 3rd position in ST, and he's taking a very grassy route back on to the circuit.
It's so easy to do that on this racetrack. That's down with a huge lead for number 84.
He's dropped down now behind Brent Mosing, so that means he's somewhere in the mid-teens, 14th or 15th.
Well, where is Brent Mosing? Okay, he fell behind Jeff Chad McCumbee.
It's another big lockup coming in. That's exactly where he had his issue earlier in the week. On the down change and the brakes into 14. Okay. He went all the way around that time and very nearly hit the barrier. This time he locked everything up. I'm sure he will have flat spotted those Continental tyres, but that looked very, very nasty indeed. And in fact, he's come into the pit lane straight away for a new set of rubber.
Yeah, and I would suggest that he almost took out inadvertently his teammate at Murillo Racing, the Porsche Cayman of Jeff Mosing. That is what I think cost Jeff some time, some momentum certainly, and allowed Chad McCumbee to go all the way through into 2nd place.
That's in the number 25 Freedom Autosport Mazda. Tom Long, by the way, continues his charge through the field and is now in 4th position in ST, and he started way down. So that's somewhat 7 positions he's made up in the first half dozen laps. Great early pace from Tom Long in that number 27 car at the head of the field. The GS battle continues. Sarah Catania, by the way, did drop down to 5th position as out goes Christian Shimczak. Shea Adam was watching that stop.
4 new tires and fuel for the 34, so I would imagine that they saw that they had a tire going down. And also I've got an update for you on the 31. It was a shock that started leaking on the pace lap, and just now they've got a shifter linkage that's coming loose. So the 31 having a pretty rough day.
Yeah, not their day, certainly. Yeah, sure, I think they might have flat spotted those tires from Christian Shimczak. That puts him off strategy with everyone else, of course. He's 6 laps to the good on fuel, but he's dropped a whole heck of a lot of real estate. And he's just about stayed on the lead lap. One advantage of having such a long lap here. So Sarah Catania going through in 5th place, has 2 minis behind her in the shape of the 37, Mike Lamara, and the 73. And yeah, definitely the engine under tray just seems to have come adrift from the back part of it, and that will be giving Sarah a slight aerodynamic disadvantage. Tom Long battling with Jeff Mosing ahead of her and goes through, and that's 3rd position for Tom Long in the Mazda. The number 27 Mazda is the car on the move at the moment, Jeremy. What a first couple of laps and more for Tom Long. Good start, made up some positions early on, but has then picked off another 3 or 4 positions and now finds himself in a podium position early stages in ST with 1 hour and 3/4 to go.
Yeah, a long way to go in this race, that's for sure. And an awful lot can happen here. Still, meanwhile, at the front, having set that new fastest lap of the race on the previous lap, lap 6, Jack Roush Jr. at a 1:56.13, a new lap record. He was only 2/10 of a slower on this last lap, so good consistency at the front of the field, but he's not getting away from Matt Bell nor Dylan Murcott, hanging right with him.
Well, earlier on, Sarah Catania in 2nd position just went really deep into the grassed area on driver's left at turn 11, the first part of Oak Tree, under pressure from the Jeff Mosing 56 Porsche. There was no contact, nothing arrived from Jeff, But I think Sarah was rather looking backwards rather than looking forwards.
Yeah, I think you're right, because
she's right up behind him now as well.
Yeah, Mosing kind of fainted to the inside, didn't he, going into that corner? I wonder whether she caught a glimpse of him there, was distracted, missed her breaking point by just a fraction. That's all it took to slide on wide, and that allowed Mosing to go on through.
Well, Jeff Mosing's now dropped from second down to fourth position, and guess what? Sarah Cattaneo is less than a tenth of a second behind him, so she gets a chance now to try and make good as she goes down into turn number 1. James Clay with a decent lead now, something like 4 seconds between McCumbee and Clay, who leads in that black and white BMW with the red mirrors and the yellow shade band into the pits there for the 31 again.
I think
that's a drive-through.
Yeah, okay.
For starting from the pit lane. So that lead at the head of ST then, a really comfortable 4 seconds for James Clay, and he'll be loving that. He'll be looking back and thinking, where's everybody gone? And it's the two Mazdas behind now, McCumbee and Long. Now, I might suggest, Jeremy, that the 25 and 27, both being Mazdas and both being from the same team, would do well to work together here and see if they can drag back. They are not the fastest car in a straight line, but two MX-5s down the straight. Oh, clears off the circuit, holds onto it. That was at turn 10, the South Bend, somehow. Well, he might have just lost his concentration there, not being under pressure. Put the two right-hand side Continentals into the dirt. The car kicked sideways. He was did very well to get that back. Whether it was good luck or good management, who cares? He'll take it.
Yeah, that's good both there probably, but momentary lapse there, and that's all it takes. But he did get it under control. Didn't spend any considerable time on the grass, so shouldn't have picked up anything too much untoward in the grille of that car.
Yeah,
it's pretty clean.
Barely dropped a tenth of a second to the two Mazdas behind him in that middle sector as well, and more dust out on the circuit would suggest to me that someone's gone off at turn 17. Just over to our left. Now, have they got back on the track? Here comes the ST leader through the considerable amount of dirt. There's been quite a lot of grass cutting gone on there over the weekend. The two Mazdas now, and new fourth place. Sarah Cattaneo has gone by Jeff Mosing, so she's back in full attack mode. Sarah recently engaged. Her then boyfriend, now fiance, proposed to her in the pit lane at the last race. On bended knee with ring in hand, very traditional. So she got a nice diamond ring when she got out of the car last time. I wonder what present he has for her this time, if she's going to fight her way back through. It's going to become a tradition now, isn't it? And the big slide by Christian Shimchak earlier on. He locked up exactly what we saw, Jeremy, earlier on in the week, and you were spot on, by the way. He came back on in front of Jeff Mosing, who was braking. He was already under pressure from the 25 of Chad McCumbee, and Chad just took the opportunity there to go through. Now, the only thing I'll say about that is, did Chad McCumbee go through under a yellow flag? How quick did the yellow flag come out for Simchak being off the track? Yeah,
by that time he was probably ahead of the spinning car there, actually, so not quite there. That's a good point. New fastest lap at the front of the field. That's a surprise at this stage in the race. Generally we see fastest laps set very early on, laps 3 or 4 or 5. Lap 9 though, at 51 minutes 55.992. That is now 2 seconds quicker than the old race lap record here. But still, Roush is not getting away from either Bell or Murcott in that third position.
I think the phrase is being kept honest, Jeremy.
Yes, it
by
is.
The cars behind. Matt Bell possibly in the most difficult position of trying to attack and defend, although in fairness, Dylan Murcott is not quite there. But here's an opportunity. Traffic. And that is a blessing or a curse for the leader. It's the 81 car that they will go past first of all. Ari Balog, who had that issue earlier on. The two leaders are through. Does the Porsche come through? In third place, Dylan Murcott. He might just get through as they stream down the back straight towards the braking area. More traffic. This time it's the 31 Porsche. Devon Jones in that car. And again, the two leaders get through, but they had to go offline into the top of the hill. The roller coaster at 14. 15 and 16, the two left-handers, and Murcott trying to hold on to the leaders there. Brynjolfsson down in 5th position still with Chris Green between himself and those leading three. till Bechtolsheimer's moved his way up to 11th position. And in fact, he's got past Russell Ward, who went off earlier on. He's dropped to the back of the field, the 35 CJ Wilson car dropped to the back of the GS field after that little excursion in the S's in the early laps. Leaders through the horseshoe, turns 1 and 2, and heading towards turn 3, the left-hander. Still nothing between them. Extraordinary amount of concentration required by both drivers here, Jeremy. In, let's not forget, an area where, oh, big slide. Now, was there a touch there between the Camaro and the back of the Mustang? Or was Jack Rouse Jr. just getting on the accelerator, on the gas pedal a little bit too hard? But the back end of the lead car, the Mustang, slid out at a jaunty angle there, out of 4 towards 5. Now climbing the hill, more traffic ahead, and that will be Brent Mosing in the bright orange, the tangerine Porsche. He's dropped down to 13th in that 65 car as they head towards the Oak Tree corner. Has he seen the leaders? Yes, he has. He lets them both go through. Stout driving from him there. Good vision. Merckert closer than he has been for a wee while, though, as the top 3 go down the back straight. James Clear is being caught ever so slightly by the 2 Mazdas. It was over 4 seconds, it's now down to just over 3.
Correct, they've been closing in a couple of tenths of a second a lap, last two laps, or last 3 or 4 laps. Those 2 Mazdas working nicely together, just one getting in the other's draft, and out front of those 2, Chad McCumbee just turning very consistent, tidy laps out the front there. As I say that, yeah, another tenth of a second, a couple of tenths of a second reduced on that margin, down to 3.1 seconds now, doing first and second in ST.
Aurora Strauss and Michael Johnson are having a great battle in the 18 Porsche and the 54 BMW, but the leaders are coming through that, going down into turn 1, and they'll need to keep their wits about them, which they do. The leader has gone through, just under an hour and 40 minutes to go, and Jack Rouse Jr. now still under pressure, as he has been since the drop of the green flag 11 laps ago, or if you prefer 22 minutes ago. And Matt Bell, I think when those 2 good guys come in the pit lane, we'll have Shea Adam check to see if there's a piece of bungee cord between them, because they don't seem to have been more than 3 or 4 cars lengths apart since the green flag dropped.
Chris Green in the McLaren on pit lane, apparently. Here he comes now past us.
Yes, that 69 car coming straight through. Shea Adam, you were watching that closer than we were.
They brought the car in and just put a little bit more fuel in it. They're going to try and put the 69 a little bit more off strategy. John, you were just mentioning the 2 cars in the bungee cord. Well, that'll be tested because the Stevenson pit box and the Core Motorsport pit box, they're further apart than the 2 cars have been on track the whole race.
Yeah, it's a good point, Shea. Thank you. Continental Tire pit lane report from Shea Adam live from trackside. Jeremy Shaw and me, John Hindorf, in the IMSA broadcast booth. IMSA TV and radio together around the US and around the world. Good to have your company. And still this battle rages on. Matt Bell's just dropped back a tiny little bit in traffic, but now he gets the opportunity through 15 and 16 as the leader is caught up in traffic. And that is the Mazda of Liam Dwyer ahead of him in 9th position. Oh, and he's held up coming onto the start-finish line. And that has given a real opportunity to Matt Bell. This is as close as they've been there. Matt's looking around the left-hand side as they go past us now. There's not even a car's length between them. They'll cross the line down the inside of Nick Galante, and Jeff Mosing is the next car that they will get to. Jeff's dropped back to 7th position, and that car's performance has dropped off since the start of the race. He was as high as 2nd position, remember. But the 56 car is the next car to go a lap down to our leading pair. And the Mustang is on the brakes now. Again, our keys to the race: choose your passing points. Jeff Mosing is an old hand, though, and lets them through, lets all 3 of them through, in fact, as Dylan Merckert is right there again, with Brynjolfsson in 4th position now.
Holding off Matt Plum, that's no mean feat, because Hugh Plum, excuse me, the 2 brothers in this race, Hugh in the number 4 car, Matt in number 76, he'll be taken over from Paul Holton later on. Hugh, he's won here 3 times before, so for Adam Brynjolfsson, his first season professional racing, at the age of 49 as well, that is an absolutely excellent effort.
50's the new 30, Jeremy. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
Dylan Murkett slightly frustrated. I think that he'll be getting a little frustrated now because he can live with those two muscle cars in the twisty bits. And a couple of laps ago, when I thought there might have been a little touch on the end, on the rear bumper of the 59, there certainly was no intent there, I don't think.
I'm here.
Yeah, just hello. Can you just get your foot down a bit, chap? That's if you don't mind. I just feel a little frustration from Dylan Murkett because he's the equal and better, I think, of the two cars ahead in the twisties, but he is losing ground on the long straight areas, and the leader is caught up now behind the McLaren number 69 of Chris Green, the 68, excuse me.
That's the car that's already been in the pit lane a little while ago.
That's Rod Randall at the wheel of that car, and that is not a healthy car, but it's fast in a straight line as they go past the 44 of Sarah Cattaneo, who is in 4th position. So Rod Randall actually was taking Sarah for position overall, not in class. And the top three together, and here comes Murkett down the inside into the first corner, and he gets halfway alongside Matt Bell, and all of a sudden Matt Bell thinks, hello, I better start defending here.
Yep, and then horsepower comes into the play. The V8 of the Camaro able to pull alongside of him. This is a fabulous battle between this trio, and still Roush hasn't been able to find a way past Rod Randall.
Well, he's trying to stay on the lead lap, Jeremy, of course, isn't he?
He's nowhere near their pace.
Blue flags being shown at the marshals' stands by our flaggers, and thanks to all of our volunteer officials.
Also, it's a bit naughty by Rod Randall. He's 5 seconds slower than the leaders. Needs to get out of the way at this stage.
Yeah, and he's going to be gently reminded, I think, from the front end of the 59 car if he's not careful.
And we talked about patience, didn't we, in overtaking slower cars, particularly up the S's. Randall here is not being very smart, I've got to tell you, because he's way off the pace of the leaders. Get out of the way, he's finally done it. Okay, thank you, well done.
Yeah.
Dr. Rod, I mean, super enthusiastic, doing fine. He had to make that pit stop early on, so did you make it? Yeah, he was in the pit stop on lap 5, so lost a lot of ground, and finally he's done the right thing and let those guys go past.
Not as committed through the fast corners, of which there are legion here, and that was a dangerous situation for Jack Roush Jr., and I'd say he's come through that with flying colours, Jeremy.
Yep.
Yes, he's lost a little bit of lap time, but he hasn't lost a position, and he's no further ahead than he was, but by the same token, he's still got the lead. And more traffic now, and this time the traffic helps the leader, as one of the Freedom Motorsport Masters is between first and second, and that'll give a huge advantage coming through turn 17, the last corner on the circuit, the right-hander that leads onto the front straight here, and that all of a sudden, from being less than 1/10 of a second as they go across the line, it's going to be about a second. So Matt Bell has to get his head down and start to battle back, but he's got his own problems there with Dylan Murkett. 59 Ford leaves 57 Chevy, the two dark grey cars. From the lighter coloured 28 Dylan Murkett, remember that Porsche, the black, white and red car, is leading the championship.
So the race leader's now just lapped the ST leader. That would be James Clay, who's on a super job there.
14th position. That's everyone up to 14th now lapped, Jeremy.
Yeah, and 2.7 seconds the gap now between first and second in ST. And Tom Long has fallen some way behind now Chad McCumbee into the 3rd position in that class. Number 25 of McCumbee, teammate 27, Tom Long in 3rd.
And Sarah Cattaneo took half a second out of Tom Long that time around, and is just gently closing back in after that mistake early on when she was in 2nd position, trying to get back towards the front of the field in the 44 Nissan Altima. Home track for Nissan here, home track for her teammate Owen Trinkler. Well, this has been quality stuff. Oh, at the Oak Tree corner, Tom Long has gone off the 27 car. So Sarah Cattaneo will have closed right up and may have even gone through there. That was 3rd place in the ST category. Can we see him? Can we see a bright pink car ahead of him as he heads down the back straight? I think I can.
I think she'll be long gone.
Yeah, so
he's come out ahead of number 17 there, Nick Gallant.
And a huge gaggle of cars heading down towards the roller coaster from both classes. Jeff Mosing involved in that, and this is running up to the accident happening, just running up to the oak tree, turns in. Oh, back end slides. Oh, he got hit by Brynjolfsson. Hit by Brynjolfsson. The 7 car, well, was in close attendance, but it looked the way that the car snapped around. You don't need a big tap when you're right on the ragged edge of adhesion. And I'm sure we'll hear from the team. Tom Long tries to get his car back. Can't see too much damage on the back of the little 27 blue and white Mazda. He's dropped back towards Nick Gallant, so that's pushed him down to 6th position. Sarah Cattaneo back in the top 3 and 6 seconds behind the leading pair at the front of the field, with half an hour gone as another Porsche spinning, and that was the 98 car, wasn't it? The Askew car, yes it was. The bright blue car, right in front of the leaders at the Oak Tree corner. ST car there, 17th in class for the 98 machine. And Merkin has dropped away for a moment from the 2 American muscle cars.
He has, hasn't he? And
by a couple
really,
of seconds.
Yeah, a really good lap there by Roush, a 56.7. That's a good lap at this stage in the race, with 15 laps already in the books now. But Matt Pearl, he's hanging right with him, isn't he, in second place?
Brilliant from both of these drivers. One of our keys to the race, Jeremy, all green, not Al Green, which I think I wrote earlier on. All green. Now that provides different challenges depending on which car you are running. Generally, we have seen that the muscle cars, of which there are 2 at the front of the field, long green flags, they can get away, but they will use their tyres, their Continental tyres, in a different way from the slightly better balanced mid-engined Porsche Cayman that is following them. So Dylan Merkin again doesn't have to be too excited about this. He's dropped a couple of seconds, but that may well come back later in the stint. That's what he will be hoping.
Yep, he will.
He'll be looking for any hint of the rear end of the Camaro, or indeed the Mustang ahead, sliding around as they head up through the snake.
Matt Keegan must have had some sort of an issue on that last lap. He's lost a position to Cameron Castles in car number 12. That's the former championship leading car, let's not forget. And Cameron Castles is doing a really good job here. He's running good laps, 58.8 last time around, a personal best to the final sector on the track.
Yeah, and Till Bechtelsheimer now just half a second behind Matt Keegan as he tries to make up positions. That car not on the grid at the right time after a couple of differential seals had to be replaced on that car, and it was wheeled to the grid slightly too late.
And the gap between the first 2 cars of ST now down to less than a second and a half. Chad McCumbee continuing to make excellent progress.
And the interesting thing about that for me, Jeremy, is Chad's done that on his own. He hasn't had any drafting help. Sarah Cattaneo under 8 seconds behind him. It is lapping very nicely indeed, and just holding those 2 leaders. She was in second earlier on, remember, led the race briefly at the start. Under an hour and a half to go. We've had half an hour. It's gone over like 5 minutes, hasn't it? Jeff Mosing, championship leader in ST, has Liam Dwyer for company now. And now Jeff's dropped down to 8th position in that 56 car, has run as high as second in ST. Live from trackside, this is IMSA Radio and TV together. VIR is the venue for the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge and the Biscuitville Grand Prix. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhaugh in the broadcast centre. Shea Adam in, at the moment, a quiet pit lane. Looks like there's a bit of damage to the 98 car and possibly to the number 7 car, so that may be a little bit of forensic that will make Tom Long feel no better at all, but at least we've put it out there for him. Leaders together again as they come through traffic again, as they head up the hill again through the S's, and I literally wanted to breathe in there as one of the Freedom Motorsport Mazdas was passed on the outside just at turn number 9 into Oak Tree again. Great driving from both of these relatively youngsters.
Yeah, and Dylan Merkel's got a kind of a second win now. He's
Yes,
just done a personal best lap time last time around, 1 minute 56.1, closing a couple of tenths on the two leaders, who continue to run a really good pace at the front of the field.
Expecting just one pit stop for the ST cars, even if we go full green. The GS cars, though, cannot do this race on just one fuel stop. It will be one stop to change drivers' tyres and get some fuel, and then a splash later on would normally be the tactics here.
Yeah, and the McLaren car number 68 elected to do that the other way around. 69, forgive me. They do that the other way around. They've already made their splash. So they're on, as we heard from Shea Adam a while ago, they're on a different strategy to everybody else. Not turning quite the same lap time, so I think, or 58 last time. It's only within half a second or so of the leaders. Chris Green down now in 12th place.
Dylan Merkel has got his second win, Jeremy, and through the third sector there, under 31 seconds, and that is the best sector time in that third sector of anyone in the race so far. And remember, we're on lap number 19 here. We've been running 36 minutes. And he's right with them again. The RS1 Cayman, resplendent in the traditional RS1 colours now of the dark grey, white and red. And he's got the leaders in sight with clear track ahead of that trio, as once again they go through the uphill S's, and Jack Rouse Jr. has to forget about what's going on behind him, focus forward, make sure he hits his marks. That's a big car to hustle through there. Matt Bell can see the tail lights, the distinctive upright triple tail lights of the Mustang ahead of him, as he tries to get the Camaro and that shark nose of the Chevy somewhere near it to the back of the Mustang ahead of him. How many times have people in our position down through the years been talking about Mustang versus Camaro? Headlights on for Matt Bell. Interesting, the leader doesn't have his headlights on, but there's no traffic to see that at the moment. Cloudy skies, but no thought of any rain at the moment here. Looking absolutely fantastic as they head down the hill and into turn 17. Top three almost together.
Number 98 car goes behind the wall. That's the DXDT Racing Porsche Cayman, making just its third start of the season.
Yeah, that car had a spin and some damage to the front end the last time I saw it go past us, Jeremy, so clearly something slightly more sinister going on there. Jack Rouse Jr. feeling the heat. That middle sector going up the hill was his fastest and the fastest of anybody last time out. Dylan Merkel's just done a 56 flat, Jeremy. That's that car's fastest lap of the race.
It is a really fine effort, just ticks of a watch slower than the fastest lap of the race set by Jack Rouse Jr. back on lap 9. Now 19 laps in the books.
And Chad McCumbee has closed to within 2 seconds now of James Clay in the 84 white and black BMW. And Chad McCumbee has got target acquired in that NC Mark III Mazda MX-5. Always looks like it's got a little smile on its face as it comes across the line. Well, Chad will have a bit of a grin now as well, because he can see the back end of that BMW of James Clay, the pole sitting and Paul starting ST car. It's getting closer, it's getting bigger. That's what you want. If the car in front's getting bigger, you're doing things right. Great run here from McCumbee. Really great run. He's paced himself very nicely through turn 4 into turn 5, and he's closing hand over fist in the early part of the lap. Sarah Catania a further 9 seconds back from this leading pair. She's settled into a good race rhythm, and championship leader 56 Jeff Mosing, championship leading in ST in the tangerine and black car, is just coming out of turn 5 now. He's having to work quite hard. I think he might be struggling with rear grip on that car. There's lots of little movements going into the steering wheel. You can see the front wheels moving around as he has to correct just ever so slightly.
Yeah, plus as we heard him talk to Shea earlier in the race, he's feeling some discomfort, isn't he, from his back as a result of that big wreck at Watkins Glen in the Porsche not too long ago. So Yeah, I'm sure it's a little bit of everything nagging away at the mind of Jeff Mosing at this moment, but forefront in his mind, we're just keeping a good pace and making sure he doesn't make any big mistakes. So he's going to hand over the car to his co-driver Eric Foss in a good position.
One thing that he said, Jeremy, actually, after we had finished the interview, was that it's a subconscious slowing down, that the pain is affecting him without him even knowing, and that they've looked at the data from Road America and Lime Rock and seen that slight drop-off in lap time. They're actually debating what to do about the 4-hour race coming up at the next round because of that very thing, but that is part of the reason why he's elected not to run the GT3 series that he loves so dearly. He wants this championship, and he wants it badly.
That's a very good point, Shea, and he was very honest to make that observation to you and that admission to you. Just saw the 68 of Rod Randall going slowly down the back straight as well. The GS 14th position, McLaren, not a dust in the air as drivers keep taking liberties with the edge of the circuit. The leading trio are together on the back straight and heading down towards the roller coaster now. Here they come. 89.9 FM around the circuit and around the world at IMSA TV and IMSA Radio, as well as our syndications. Channel 2 is IMSA Radio as part of the RSL broadcast network. Wherever you are around the world watching and or listening, as we have sound and vision together here again this weekend for the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge, as we do every Conti race. Very warm welcome along. 68 has made it to the pit lane, and it goes up on its jacks. There's fuel going in, but that was going very slowly, that 68 car, and problems getting the fuel churn into its holder. Catch tank on the left-hand side just popping on and off as the wheels are changed. Single lug nut in the middle of the rim for the McLarens, whereas all of the other cars have multiple nuts. That means that to make that a little fairer, that's how the street car comes, by the way, so to make that a little fairer, only one crew member with a wheel gun allowed to change the wheels on that car.
And you have to be very, very careful with those single nuts not to cross-thread.
The reason Rod was slow was a destroyed tyre. That's been up over a curb somewhere, and Rod Randall then having to come back in the pit lane, left front tyre, an issue there. And he's done very well not to do any damage to the bodywork. James Clare then, who has led almost since the start. Sarah Catania ahead for just a few moments on that opening lap, has now seen his 4-second lead, Jeremy, disappear, because you don't need a stopwatch anymore. This is a visual lead, and as they come through turn 4, there's about a Mazda and a half between the BMW and the Mazda in second place, up the hill for their 21st time. And they've got traffic behind them, and it is Rod Randall in that 69 McLaren now.
That's Chris Green.
Oh, excuse me, it is the 69, yes. I said 69 and gave you the drive from the 68. And now he's gone past the Mazda, caught up at turn 10 behind the ST leader. Has to be patient here. Both drivers need to be sensible, and are. Shea Adam, we are 44 coming up to 45 minutes into the race. Now 45 minutes is a significant time here.
Minimum drive time will have been met when we reach 45 minutes, and Trent Hinman was the first guy to have his helmet on and to be standing on the wall waiting for the number 12 Body Motion Porsche. Now, Trent is driving in not one, not two, but 3 separate series this weekend, so clearly he's being a little greedy about his seat time. Yeah, John, exactly. But he's looking around. He looks quite patient, but noticed him, and then noticed in the RS1 tent, they have Spencer Pompelli already with his helmet on, and he's going to have to get ready after the race. He's got a concert to perform with his young son on the podium, so he'll have to drive his heart out and then keep his singing voice good. But we're also getting Robin Liddell ready, so lots going on.
Well, as you said, Shea, 45 minutes are up. That's the minimum drive time to get points and for the championship. And with a green race all the way so far, there will be teams thinking, well, you know, what do? Do we run all the way to the end of the fuel in GS? I suppose you have to. In ST, if you're not one of the first two cars, Jeremy, then maybe you do that thing of getting a new set of Continental tyres, getting the best out of those Continental tyres with perhaps a faster driver in the car and trying to make up track position that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened last time, by the way, to Matt Bell, because all of a sudden he lost quite a lot of ground. He was 3.3 seconds behind as he came past here. I didn't see any other traffic in the way on that previous lap.
But he's clawed a heck of a lot of it back in the first two sectors of this lap.
Yeah.
Leading ST cars under the bridge. Beautiful afternoon here, just coming up to 3 o'clock Eastern here at VIR. Back in the UK, 8 o'clock in the evening, 9 o'clock in Europe, and already tomorrow in Australasia, where I know a lot of people are tuning in sound and vision. Great stuff here. GT categories together for the GT Challenge at VIR and the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge race for the Biscuitville Grand Prix on the beautiful grounds. And pit lane caller, Shea Adam, that looked to me like it was a Porsche.
Team TGM Porsche to be exact. The number 4 comes in and Plum gets out. Cosmo installing himself. You can see the smile through his helmet. There is a fuel guy up on the nose of the Porsche as the number 12 rolls into the pit lane. Ooh, and Cameron Castles tries to hit a pit official and go into the Porsche pit box. That is not where he is based, as he manages to get all the way up to his pit box. They're doing 4 Continental tires and a driver change for the 12. They did 4 Continental tires for the 4, and the 38 is also in. So right now it's a Porsche pit lane. 4 tires and fuel for every car. The fueler is still on the nose of the 4 as the driver change is complete. Now they send him back out. Good stop by the 4 team. Spoke briefly last night to Ted Giovannis, who said he was just really hoping his boys can make him proud, since he can't race for the remainder of this season. The normal co-driver of both of the guys in the number 4. All is pretty calm down here, honestly, though, for these 3 Porsche pit stops. Everything going according to plan.
Sarah Cattaneo has just gone through, and whatever it was hanging underneath, some of it's gone, but some of it is still hanging down there as well on the Nissan Altima. Her lap times have gone away in the last 3 or 4.
Pit lane, is it?
Second place car on the pit lane, Stevenson. And that is Matt Bell. There's a dent on the rear of the 44 Nissan as well that wasn't there earlier on. So Sarah has had some help on the back of that car as Robin Liddell is getting ready to be installed, and Shea Adam has this Continental Tire pit lane report.
Matt Bell has gotten out. He was thrown his seat insert, caught it with one hand like an NFL receiver, and Robin Liddell, who was getting all riled up watching the video of the battle between his car and the 59, now has an opportunity to go out and prove it himself. 4 tires and fuel for that number 57, as there was just a blast of fire extinguishment from the 7 pit box. I think that was accidental, though. And the 76 McLaren is also on pit lane. Paul Holton getting out of that. Matt Plum getting in. So we do not have a situation, the Plum brothers being on track at the same time. Probably a good situation here. They are doing, they did do 4 tires for the number 57. They just did the right sides very, very quickly. Fueling was done. There goes Robin. And the 76 still on pit lane as the driver change is still going on. The door is still up, and they are doing 4 tires for that one as well.
Shea Adam with that Continental Tire pit lane report. So the first of the leading teams then to blink is Stevenson. But is it a blink or is it a tactical move? Because now, with a new set of Continental tyres on and a new driver, how quickly can Robin Liddell get up to speed? And what sort of lap times can he do? Last time around, Dylan Merker did a 58.4, 57.6 for the leader, Jack Rouse Jr. The thought is here, I'm sure, is that you've got to make a second pit stop anyway, because they can't go at 1 hour and 11 minutes, and that's what is left in the race. So how long do you leave Jack Rouse Jr. out leading the race? He's got track position and a 3.2 second lead. The 59 dark grey Ford from the 28 of Dylan Murcott, who is in the pit lane. Also coming in, the 76 McLaren, Paul Holton. Shea Adam.
Dylan Murcott getting out of that 28 Porsche. His job is done. His bright yellow gloves throwing bits of the belt out of of the door so that Dylan McCavern can take over. They have done the left side Continentals on this car already. They are working with the fuel now, so this will be a 4-tire stop because I see 2 new Continental tires on the right side. Yes, now indeed they go to work on that. 35 has also come in. That's the CJ Wilson car, and Damian Faulkner, who won here in the GTC class in 2013 with Ben Keating, now gets to go back out for his second race since that occasion. We'll be trying to replicate that win. Pit stop very normal down here for the 28 as we have the 99 Aston Martin. The 77 McLaren is also in, and there's another car tucked in behind that. That would be Darth Kamen, the 33. So Till Bechtelsheimer, yep, jumping out of that car. Mark Miller runs around the side looking to defend his race win that he got here last year. And the 77 is also doing a driver change. The 33 came in from the 6th position after Till Bechtelsheimer had to start at the back of the class. Remember, this is the car that they were working on until midnight, and then again at 7 o'clock this morning. Car had no drive until 10 minutes before the race. That is an incredible effort. So the mechanics have already done their part behind the wall. Now they're doing it over the wall. 4 tires and fuel, as well as a driver change for that 33.
2 cars involved in an incident. It's the 52 Mini and the Brynjolfsson number 7 car, who was in 2nd position, and he's gone in hard, and it's a full course yellow. Full course yellow. This plays massively
into the hands of anybody who has already made the pit stop.
The pit stop, absolutely right. And there's the danger, Jeremy, of staying out in the lead on a road course like this where you don't get a lap on the field. Brynjolfsson was 26 seconds in arrears in 2nd position, and it just went straight on there as he was trying to go around the outside coming into the... Now, is that Oak Tree? Yes, it is, isn't it? At the top of the hill, and he's nosed that car in heavily, clipped the left-hand side of the 52 Patriot Mini. And by the way, Tom Long was having a cracking scrap with 2 Minis, the 73 and the 37 for 4th, 5th and 6th position. Brynjolfsson's got it going again. Is there damage to the suspension on that car? It doesn't look like it's running quite the way it should, and it's shedding bits of bodywork and under tray.
It's incredible, actually. There's not more damage to the front of that car because he went into that tyre wall a heck of a lick, didn't he?
Still had power on, Jeremy. The back wheels were still spinning. He's sitting half off the circuit at the moment, which I'm not sure is the right thing to do because he's going to catch the front splitter, and now he's deranged the front splitter. It's catching in the dirt. If he's going to drive on the dirt, he's got to drive much, much slower than that. Oh dear me, he's just making he's making a bad situation worse there, Jeremy. He's dislodged the whole front end of that bright yellow car. Now Jack Rouse Jr. has a huge lead, but of course the pits will be closed right now. And Chris Green, remember the 69 McLaren? Pitted early?
That's right.
They're going to cycle round. They could be leading this thing by the time we've done the pit stops.
They will be leading this thing, yeah, from Robin Liddell. The question is, we've got an hour and 7 minutes to go. I think that's too early for them to make their final pit stop.
Agreed.
So I think he's going to have to stay out there, but he will be leading the race once everybody gets caught up. Now, the number 57 car, having made its pit stop, by the way, did come out ahead of the number 28 car, so no change there. They ran in 2nd and 3rd before they made their pit stops.
Now, in ST, nobody has made their stops at the front of the field. Correct. So James Clay holding on to the lead, barely, from Chad McCumbee, who's done a great drive. Sarah Catania, who dropped down to nearly 20 seconds away from the leading pair. That gap's going to disappear. And with an hour and 7 minutes to go, they won't be the first cars in the pit lane. The GS cars will be allowed to pit first. So they're going to be pretty close to being able to go from wherever that car stops, those cars stop. So that will be their one and only stop for the STs, and it will be done under yellow. So it's now our keys to the race, pressure. The pressure now, Jeremy, for ST is on the pit crews rather than on the drivers, as Brynjolfsson has got back to the pit lane and has come into a closed pit lane, of course, but that is the least of their problems. Shea Adams.
Yeah, they're going to have to do quite a bit of work to this to make it presentable. But this car, not having the best luck so far this year, came into the series. Of course, they were running a different manufacturer for the beginnings half of the season. Swapped to Canadian Tire Motorsport part. Oh, just how sad. The crew member pulled the left front of the bumper off, and the headlight is now dangling down. And now the crew member is trying to actually put that back in. Brynjolfsson is extracting himself from the car very slowly. He just went to hold his back, actually, and then realized that he was still attached to the car. He's complaining of back pain, John. He's telling the crew that his back hurts too much, and Chris Hull, who is not prepared to get into the car, is now being given instructions by the crew. The headlight has been removed entirely. There is no splitter remaining on this car at all, and yeah, they're trying to figure out who can actually drive the car. Now Chris is ready to go, but I'm not entirely sure that this is going anywhere except back to the garage.
They got away with emergency service for just stripping off bodywork, but I think if they change the driver, that's going to give them a penalty for coming into a closed pit. The IMSA regulations say if you come in and you need fuel, you can have 5 seconds of fuel emergency service to rectify maybe a broken wheel or a punctured tyre, or to take off bodywork that might be a danger to other competitors.
Well, that is the case, yes, John, but if he is medically unable to drive, then that is a different situation.
Well, that is true. Thank you, Shea Adam, for that. We are waiting to pack the field up behind the safety car. An hour and 5 minutes to go. Here's how it stands live on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV together. Jack Rouse Jr.'s lead will disappear, and Chris Green will be scored in second place. Now, crucial among this is not first, second and third positions, but who's made their pit stops. Jack Rouse Jr. leading in the 59 Ford has not. The core racing car the core motorsport car has to come down to pit lane and make its pit stop and change drivers. Chris Green's car has done its first pit stop, but has not changed drivers, don't forget. So Chris Green can run till the end of his fuel, and so long as he pits within the next 10 minutes or so and puts his teammate in, his teammate will get 45 minutes, minimum drive time. All is happy with the 69 McLaren. However, in the box seat at the moment is Robin Liddell. The 57 car has made a pit stop. Its first driver, Matt Bell, has done 45 minutes, and Robin Liddell is just saving fuel right now. I'm not sure he can get to the end without a little more help from full course yellow, but when all comes to all, I reckon he will end up leading this race, if not by passing Chris Green, then in about 10 minutes time, when Chris Green goes to the pit lane to change drivers. That will leave Dylan McAvan in second place. Currently the 28 championship leading car has made its pit stop, has done its driver change, and that car, the 28 then, currently in fourth position, and that one will cycle through.
And I'm not sure exactly where Nicholas Rondet, Matt Plum, Trent Hinman are, and particularly Trent Hinman, who's a championship contender, in relation to Chris Green, because Jack Roche is going to have to make a pit stop when the pits are opened, and it'll depend. I'm not sure whether the number 12 car is still, he's a lap behind 59 car. Haven't seen yet where in relation to the number 69, which will be the new leader when 59 comes onto pit lane, where it stands.
And when the 59 comes onto pit lane, Jeremy, it has to drive through the pit box that was occupied by the 7. That Volt Racing car has gone behind the wall, but it left a great deal of grass in the path of the 59 Ford to come in. So unfortunately, one Ford has sabotaged another completely unintentionally. They tried to blow a lot of the grass out of the direct path of the 59. They don't want anything getting up into the radiator in the intakes, but there's still quite a bit there that Jack Roche Jr. is going to have to get through. Yeah, the pits are now open, and the leader is in the 59, making its way down the pit lane. Dean Martin up on the wall will be jumping in. 1 hour and 2 minutes to go. That's a little bit too long for their comfort in terms of a pit window. They will need caution to make it to the end. The 12, Jeremy, you were asking where it is on track. It's not on track right now. It's on the pit lane as well. As the 12, the 57, the 28, all of our leaders have come in. For the last 3, they will have shorter stops, though, because they will be doing fuel fuel only, as that's exactly what's going on for the 57, 28, and 12. The 59 doing 4 tires, fuel, and driver change, though. So the car that came in as the leader will be leaving at the very least fourth. The Chevy gets out first, ahead of the RS1 Porsche. The number 12 Porsche is still waiting on the pit lane. There goes the 4 of Guy Cosmo. Guy's going to come out in third, and we are waiting now. There goes Trent Hinman. The 69 is on the pit lane. They are doing fuel and driver change, so their stop will be a little bit longer, as well as their 4 tire change, of course, but that is not because of any reason other than they're doing their long service now. Everybody else did that before this caution came out. 59 still up on its high jacks, waiting for the last of the fuel. Now it comes off the jacks, engine is revving. Dean Martin wants to go, but not yet. Fuel still going in. The fueler actually just shaking his head, saying, no, tell him to calm down. The 69 further down the pit lane, still waiting. 59 leaves, so now we're just with the McLaren, but we do have the 17, the RS1 Porsche, is in its pit box. They did emergency service fuel on that car because the pits were not open for ST competition as of right then.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing else but 5 seconds worth of fuel.
Thanks, Shea.
And big mistake there by number 12 team to bring that car onto pit lane. They had an opportunity there to get back onto the lead lap, but by making that pit stop, they've thrown that away.
Yeah, I don't understand
that. Was bizarre.
I mean,
I'm sure they weren't expecting all of the leaders to come in. All the leaders,
correct.
They will really probably need another full course caution after this, I believe, in order to make it to the end of the race without stopping again.
I like the call, though, Jeremy. I like the call from Stevenson and everybody behind them, because if they hadn't stopped then, they knew they were going to get track position on the 59 car. If they hadn't stopped then, and there had been some full course yellow, then the 59 car might have been able to go all the way to the end. I like it. It's putting pressure on. We talked about how you deal with pressure, but it's also about how you apply pressure to your opponents. Bad luck, bad news for the 59 team. As they went out of the pits, it was Robin Liddell who will assume the lead in the 57 Camaro for Stevenson. Dylan McEvan in the Porsche number 28, the championship leading car, remember, in second. Guy Cosmo in the 4 Porsche in third. Then Dean Martin went out in the 59 car, but has a full tank of fuel, but he's a long way back and with many cars at the moment between, because we haven't opened the pits for ST, remember. Then the 69 McLaren of Jesse Lazer. Everyone else getting a lap back from those top 5. That's the way it's gone round. So Mark Miller, who has stopped in the 33 car, will now be on the tail end of the lead lap, as will Nico Ronde, Matt Plum, Ron Eklund Jr., John Tecchi and Damien Faulkner in the 35. ST leaders are in the pit lane. James Clare leads in the horde of street tuners. Shea Adam is watching.
First car to hit its box is the number 25, the MX-5. One helmet with green and blue and white and black gets out of that car, and an identical one gets in. Stephen McAleer's turn to drive the Mazda now. James Clay is out of the 84 BMW from the lead. Tyler Cook getting into that one. It's Eric Foss's turn to drive the Murillo Racing car that is leading the ST Championship. That is the 56 Porsche. All 3 of the ones that I mentioned so far, fuel and tires. Sarah Cattaneo in the number 44 CRG I Do Borrow. That car will be 2 tires only, but they are doing fuel and a driver change. For the number 17, Nick Galante pulled into the wrong pit box. He stopped in the Stevenson box because the 18 car, severely damaged 18 car, I should say, of Aurora Strauss, she's now handed over to Connor Bloom. It stopped just slightly short of the normal pit box, and Spencer Pompelli's teammate, Nick Galante, stopped behind it instead of in front of it. So now he pulls in. Just a very bad race for this RS1 team, the championship defenders from last year. That is the horde of cars already leaving the pit lane. John, it's chaos down here.
And very nearly a change of lead in the pit lane, because Owen Trinkler just was half a second or so slow in getting away. The boot was down, the trunk lid was down, the fueling was completed. And I don't think the team quite got the signal right from the fueler, because if they had, Owen Trinkler would have got out ahead of the 84. Tyler Cook did get back out in the lead, but Owen Trinkler up the second place in the 44 Nissan. Now, Shea, you said only 2 tyres for the Nissan Altima. Was that one side, or was it just the fronts?
Just the fronts.
Yeah.
And a bad
Smart
stop
move
for our championship leaders in ST as well for the 56. They had trouble refueling the car. It was one of the last ones to leave the pit lane. And when they went to pull the fuel hose out, they actually completely knocked off the fuel cap. So right now it's running with a little bit less aerodynamic performance than normal.
Owen Trinkler taking it very easy indeed on his outlap. Big dent in the left rear of that car from earlier in the race. Not sure who or how that was caused, who caused it or how it was caused. So ST after the pit stops. Tyler Cook in the pole sitting 84 car, still leading. Owen Trinkler in the second place starting, the outside pole sitter in second. So, you know, first and second exactly as they were. Hardly anything happened there in the first hour or so. Not exactly. Stephen McAleer in third in the 25 Mazda from James Vance in the 37 Mini making up positions. The very fast 75 Audi, Pierre Kleinenbing behind the wheel of that car in fifth. Andrew Carbonell in sixth for the 26 car. That's another Mazda. Seventh is the 73 Mini. Eighth, the 27 Mazda. Ninth, Aurora Strauss's 18 car. That's Connor Bloom. That's been a problem with the timing all weekend, having Aurora in all the time. And Stephen Simpson rounds up the top 10, the 54 BMW. So go down to the pit lane and hear from some of the drivers who gave us that excellent full hour of entertainment as the wave by has gone by. And the 57 car now in the lead with Robin Liddell. That means Shea Adam can give us this Continental Tire pit lane report with Matt Bell.
On behalf of all the fans out there, thank you for that great battle with the Ford. It looked like a lot of fun from our point of view, but what was it like from yours?
Yeah, it's always fun battling out here. This is a great class for that type of thing, and it's enjoyable watching. You know, with the circumstances of this weekend, the cars are pretty close. We're still a little bit down on power, which is pretty obvious to the Mustang, and the frustrating thing with the Mustang is that we're so similar that that a little bit of extra top speed just makes it almost impossible to go by him. Even if I get an advantage in, I don't really have an advantage out, and that's obviously where it counts, is down the straightaways. So no, we're going to do well. We're going to have to science ourselves into a win here if there's one in the books, and you know, but we've got the best guys on the bench to do it. Robin's awesome at this. It's getting pretty hot in the car. I think that'll rile him up a little bit, so he'll be having a good time out there.
It's not like Robin needs much inspiration. Now, with where the fuel window fell, do you guys have enough to make it to the end without any more yellows?
I don't know. I think we might be a little bit short, but one thing we have tested in the past, and maybe not with this car specifically, but with the previous Camaros, is fuel savings. And I think we have a pretty good plan on saving a little bit of fuel to hopefully make it to the end. You know, it's one of those things that we try to be smart about. We know this happens in the race, so you know, we tested it off track.
At least for right now, the 57 leads.
Yes, thank you, Shea. Fair points made. Presented perfectly by Matt Bell there, and add our congratulations and thanks to Matt and indeed to Jack Rose Jr. when you see him. Aurora Strauss's big moment was surprise, surprise at turn 10. She managed to get herself back on, and that is what precipitated the Brynjolfsson and 52 Patriot Mini issue. Brynjolfsson really not doing his or the car's.
No, a little unfortunate there. I think at the very least distracted by the number 18 car coming back on the road.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
And if you're wondering why there's some cars going at pace, if you're here at the racetrack, you'll see there's half a dozen cars that are zooming around here, well behind the rest of the field. These were the cars that were after the pit stops were made. These are the cars in GS primarily that were still on the same lap as the overall race leader, but trapped between it and in front of it the safety car. So they've been waved past the safety car, and they will, if they're quick enough, they will take up position at the back of the pack.
And here's a bit of strategy. Pressure for the drivers, pressure for the team. 33, Mark Miller, and 35, Damien Faulkner, now on the tail end of the lead lap. The last two cars on the lead lap in GS just in and out of the pits, having topped off those 2 Caymans.
Yeah, because they got the wave around and able to hustle around to the pit lane, take on that splash of fuel, and they will be just about good enough to go to the end of the race. We saw the first part of the race. It was 48 minutes when most of the GS cars were onto the pit lane for the first time. We've got 51 minutes remaining in this race, so they at least are a good bit closer to getting to the end than anybody else.
Well, and Matt Bell's saying they're going to be close. Robin was in that car, a couple of laps to top off that car ago, albeit safety car laps, and we're coming down to that 51 minutes that Jeremy was talking about. If they're going to be struggling, so are the cars alongside them, because they were all in on lap 29. The top 5 down to Jesse Lazare on the timing screen, all in on lap 29. Mark Miller and Damien Faulkner came in on lap number 31. And we're not going green this time around, Jeremy.
Are we not?
No,
well,
we are not.
That's surprising.
I think they're still waiting for the field to pack up. There's too much of a gap.
They don't normally do that.
Okay.
They've stopped doing that some time ago. So, yeah, I don't know whether there's any repairs to the barrier where Brynjolfsson went off or something like that. I've no idea why.
And the safety car lights are still on, going through turn 1. I'll keep an eye on that, Jeremy.
That's curious.
So the CJ Wilson guys, Mark Miller in particular, Damien Faulkner was on the end of the lead lap anyway, so nothing to lose from there. Mark Miller in the 33, that is the car that is challenging in the top 5. It's very close in the championship, in the top 5 in GS. He's given up track position for a couple of extra laps of fuel. Actually, it would have been more than a couple of extra laps of fuel for him, because they'd been into the pit lane a little bit earlier. They took the wave by. So that is really smart move from the CJ Wilson guys. They might not have had much sleep, but they're still functioning. Both of those cars needing work till the wee small hours of the morning, and then necessitating an early start. The Nissan GTR in that very fetching metallic bronze colour, leading the field at the moment. There is a GT3 version of that car that could be racing in the GT Daytona category of IMSA, and allegedly a GT4 version as well. Now the safety car lights are out, Jeremy, so stand by your beds, as in comes Rod Randall again in the 68 McLaren.
He's a couple of laps behind the leaders.
So Aurora Strauss effectively precipitating this yellow flag, going off at turn 10, fighting the car coming back on. The 52 Mini trying to get around the outside, and Alan Brynjolfsson tagging the back of the Mini and then heading straight off into the barriers at turn 11, and then driving down the grassed area and taking what was left of the front. I don't understand that part of it at all.
Lost me on that one too.
Unless there was damage to the rear end. I did think the right rear suspension didn't look quite as it should have done. Let's reset our thoughts then and get back into race mode. Click. Robin Liddell has already done that because he's a pro and he knows exactly what he's going to do here. He has visualised the moment that Nissan is going to pull off into the pit lane on the right-hand side of the circuit. He comes down out of turn 16 and gets on the power. He's caught out Dylan McAvan and gets a 2 or 3 car length lead, and it's a little more than that now, but the safety car was well into the pit lane, so no worries. And that is a brilliant restart for Stevenson, for Camaro and for Robin Liddell. Meantime, Guy Cosmo, Dean Martin, Jesse Lazare all having a crack.
And Owen Shrinkler has just motored past Tyler Cook at that restart as well, used the power of that Nissan Altima to move on past. So a couple of notes here. First of all, that everybody here in GS in particular, very lucky they had an extra lap of caution. That'll help them to reach the end of this race without making another pit stop. I'm not sure it was necessary, but that's what happened. And the number 12 car is trying to catch up with the leader to get back on the lead lap and hope there's a yellow, but they've cost themselves dearly here, that team.
And Trent Hinman did get ahead of Guy Cosmo going through the first couple of corners, but Cosmo's gone back through again. And now the 59 of Dean Martin, having taken over from Jack Rouse Jr., is sitting in 4th position and is right behind them. The Body Motion car in that group of cars at the head of the championship table. Robin Liddell has set sail, goes around the oak tree turns at 11 and 12. Owen Trinkler has stolen the lead away for the Nissan Altima, but not by very much. Tyler Cook still in his wheel tracks, half a second further back in 3rd position. Stephen McAleer in the Mazda has got a lapped car in between, which is the 31 of now Drake Kemper behind the wheel. The blue and black Porsche is not in that fight for 1st, 2nd and 3rd. And here comes Pierre Kleinebing.
Yes.
He is in the fight.
Indeed.
And he's got a fast S3 and he's down the inside. Driver's left. He's put himself in great position when we eventually get to the braking area for the roller coaster, and he's going to get it done. He's got it done past the Mazda, and he's past the lap car as well. My goodness, that 75 car's quick in a straight line. Oh, and he's getting pushed. That was naughty.
Yeah, Drake Kemper there. Not quite sure what that was all about, but he's already a lap down, is Drake Kemper. So.
Oh, and he's doing the same thing with the Mazda.
Yeah, get out of the way.
Come on, Drake, you're better than that. That's a bit naughty.
We've seen that number 75 car. Boy, it's been fast on the straights all this weekend. So now Pierre Klein-Ubing finally has got opportunity in terms of overall end results to show how that fast
this is going
that
to
car
end
is.
in tears. Drake Kemper is fighting with cars, and there's the touch. The Mini has touched the car ahead of it, and that was a 25 car. That's the 73 car. Pombo's gone off and through the tyre barriers at the first corner. It was absolutely obvious. Drake Kemper had no reason to be involved in that. He was fighting off 2-3 cars that were well ahead, and that, I'm afraid, has cost the 73 Mini dearly. May have got a touch from the Porsche, but certainly hit the Mazda of Andrew Carbonell, and then I think broke the right front steering arm. Now that Mini is a very, very long way off at turn 1. It's left the Pierre Kleinebing car full course yellow. Full course yellow. Pierre Kleinebing in 3rd, Carbonell in 4th, Britt Casey Jr. now in 5th in the 27 Mazda. Well, that was not smart driving from Drake Kemper coming back to the end of that first green flag lap. He banged into at least 2 cars that were laps ahead of him and then made it 4 wide and started squeezing people. And that, I'm afraid, is not good driving at all. Coming down out of the corner, well, 37 car had a bang earlier on, in fact, in the piece. That was coming out of the final corner, but it was 3 and 4 wide coming across the line. Turn 17 was one issue, but then we had 4 cars wide behind the Mazda, and Drake Kemper's in there. Now, in fairness, he didn't touch anybody, but he was really in a place he shouldn't have been with the 18 car of Connor Bloom trying to come around the outside. And really should have backed out of that, Jeremy, for my money, and let those cars who were battling for 4th on down.
To be fair, that incident turn 1, the number 31 car really wasn't involved in that. He was well to the outside. Number 73 was challenging Stephen McAleer for position, and he got a bit too close, and I think it was... I will not pin any blame at all for that incident on number 31 car. I will blame him for the one a few corners before, but I think he's Matt Pomber there expressing his frustration. Not quite sure. Well, probably a number 25 car for kind of blocking the inside there, and there was contact between those 2 cars, certainly.
But I don't understand what Drake Kemper was thinking about. He ran into the 75 car, and then he ran into the Mazda coming down the hill through 14, 15 and 16.
Yes, totally unnecessary. You've got to know when to hold and when to fold them in this thing. For a lap down, look, it's not going to. You're not going to. Yes, he thinks he's fast, and he is fast, but he's not that fast. You can't win it on the first lap, which is effectively what he was trying to do. And sorry.
He's already off the lead lap in class, and the leaders have gone.
And with the leaders, so yeah, legitimately fine. If you can find a way to make it past them, but don't impede their progress when they're clearly going faster than you, as it was the instance there.
I have no problem fighting to keep the leader behind you in this form of racing, but the first 2-3 cars at that point are already through. And banging into the 3rd and 4th place cars is just not smart, in my view. But I don't have to make those decisions, thank goodness, because I wouldn't do race director's job for all the tea in Sri Lanka. Under 42 minutes to go, and this is great news, Jeremy, for those GS cars at the head of the field. Not great news for Mini and the 73 team. Stephen McAleer, by the way, had to come into the pit lane after that. It was the 25 car that got the ding. Andrew Carbonell was out on the dirt, but managed to recover and avoid the accident. The Mini's going to take a wee while to be taken out the way. What will take a longer time, I suggest, Jeremy, is putting the tyre wall back. Yeah, unfortunately it is, because he went to clear through that, and that tyre wall, I think, will need to be replaced. But once again, Jeremy, the banded tyre wall doing its job. It stopped the car, and he didn't get to the Armco. Correct. And that was a fast off. Saved a huge repair bill. Yeah. I mean, it's still a fair bit of damage to the front of the car, which is where all the expensive bits are, of course, on the Mini. But still, it's a lot better than slamming into a concrete wall. There goes number 25 car, by the way. He's coming out of pit lane, so he's going to be able to continue. I don't think he's lost the lap. No, he hasn't. He is still on the same lap as the leaders. Yeah. But number 73 car, that was a championship contender, of course, all the way through the early part of the season, having won the first race of the season at Daytona, also won at Watkins Glen. We've had a couple of mediocre results as well, but they were standing in 3rd position in the points here, 1 position ahead, incidentally, of number 25 car, with which they had an incident at turn 1. So go down to Shea Adam, who is in the pit lane. Stephen McAleer just in and out. They're running repairs on the 25 Freedom Autosport car. What have the team heard from Matt Pombo in the 73 Mini, Shea?
He reported that he's feeling a little bit sore. He got the wind knocked out of him with that hit. So they are going to bring him to the medical center as standard procedure. That's what they do every time. But Derek Jones just saying, there goes our shot at the championship. They're feeling pretty dejected down at the Mini pit box right now. Yeah, that was a big hit. The safety belts, the harness does a great job of holding you in place, but going straight in at virtually unabated speed there for Matt Pombo. He's going to have some bruises tomorrow at the top of his thighs and on his shoulder blades, where the belts have done their job, but he's going to be a little bit black and blue there. He'll feel that, what day is it today? Saturday. By Monday, he'll be really feeling that. And I do speak of what I know. Yeah, what a shame we've had these yellows. It's certainly great first hour, and now we're going to have something in the region of probably a 30-minute dash at the end. It will assuage any fears for the GS cars. That is, it's not a work of a moment to put those tyres back, and Track Service is already over there having a good look at that to see how quickly that can be fixed. Of course, you can't leave it like that, because if one car can go there, so can another. Yeah, and once again, the team that's really kicking themselves now is, well, it's been a bad few minutes for Body Motion Racing, because number 31 car, that was Drake Kemper involved in the ST car, Drake Kemper involved in that incident, good point. A couple of incidents, and number 12 car, having made that pit stop when they really didn't need to, this really kills their opportunity to get back on the lead lap. Yeah, bad news as well in some ways for the two CJ Wilson cars who splashed. Yeah, it cost them. It cost them what? 1, 2, Mark 3. Miller, I think, was in 6th, wasn't he? 6th. It cost him 3 positions. It cost him 4 positions, one of which he's already made back. Right. So not that big a deal, and it could well have been a very good move. Great work by Track Services, who have the heavy plant to move those tyres already over at the turn 1 area, the horseshoe. Oh, they've got a very nice piece of equipment, which is like a little grappling hook to be able to hold the tyres. It was the merest brush, right front to left rear, Mini to Mazda,
And I did break the steering. The steering was broken immediately.
Yeah.
And Matt Pombo not happy with somebody who went
he
through.
will be not happy with Stephen McAleer. He will feel that McAleer moved left. He was already committed to the inside line in the corner, and he will feel that McAleer moved into his path by moving slightly left into the side of the Mini as the Mini was going past. But you know, it's awfully difficult, that part of the racetrack, because it's curving all the way in there toward turn 1.
It's quite bumpy.
It was really unfortunate, and the Mini has paid the price dearly.
Still got a lapped car at the sharp end of the field, and that is Trent Hinman. And he is only a couple of cars back from getting his lap back. Unfortunately, the 2 cars ahead of him, 3 cars ahead of him, a Guy Cosmo in the 4 TGM Porsche, Dunham McEvan in the 28 RS1 Championship leading Porsche, and the race leading Robin Liddell in the Stevenson Motorsport car. Great work done by Track Services. I really did that little grab that they could put into the tyre stacks and lift up a whole tyre stack and then manoeuvre it with the hydraulics. Well, Trent Hinman sitting a lap off the lead in 12th position in the number 12, but has more chances this weekend. I think he's got 3 more races to go, hasn't he?
He's got, yes, I guess so. Yeah, 2 Lamborghini Super Trofeo events and the main event tomorrow.
So we'll get back to green flag racing, I think, next time around. It's IMSA Radio and TV live from trackside at VIR. Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh in the booth. The lights on the GTR are still on for the moment. Robin Liddell dropping back from the safety car. Shea Adam with news from race control for us. Shea?
They're reviewing the contact between the 25 Freedom Autosport Mazda and the 73 Mini.
And whilst you're there, this has come into at IMSA Radio from Right Turn Lover. Hello, RTL. Don't we normally have 2 Team GM cars on the grid? Where's the owner, Ted Giovannis, this weekend, Shea?
Well, Ted is here. He's recovering from an injury that was sustained at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, one of the practice sessions. It's tore his Achilles. He's had surgery on it. He's recovering. He's moving extremely well. His right foot in quite a big boot still, and he's using a crutch to walk around. But he will not be able to resume racing this season. He still thinks that he'll be back at Daytona. That's what he's telling everyone. He's excited about that. But he's decided that his normal 2 co-drivers should share 1 car. They did have both cars running for the test day so that both Hugh and Guy could get equal time behind the wheel. But instead of running the 2 cars, because they are short a driver, they're just doing the 1. They're putting all their eggs in that basket. And right now, the 4 is looking pretty.
Yeah, sitting in 3rd position. Thank you, Shea. Keep those social media interactions coming to at IMSA Radio. 34 minutes to go. Not going green this time around. No worries now for fuel from the cars at the front of the field. They'll be able to go full tilt. I think the rearranging of the tyres has been done as much as is going to be done, Jeremy.
Yeah, it might not be the prettiest solution, but I think it seems to work.
If it gets us back racing again, it works for me. And as I'm just looking up out of the IMSA Broadcasting Centre, and above us, and about to just go across the sun, is a rather menacing dark cloud.
My weather forecast says 0 chance of rain. I'm going with that.
And down towards turn 1, if that's coming our way, we're in trouble. I'll tell you that now. Still got a couple of races to go this afternoon. And live on IMSA Radio and TV together, we'll have Lamborghini and Porsche to finish off our Super Saturday. Safety car lights would normally go off around about the bridge if we're going to go racing, maybe a little further in. Still on at the moment. No word as to when we will go back to green flag racing at the moment. Now, what is 75% of 2 hours, says Hindhoff. Work that out.
For reasons of?
Hour and a half, 2 minutes away, in case they don't think they can get restarted with those tyres not being correctly placed at the first corner. Full points at 75%.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, last race at Road America, we did half the race, didn't we?
That's a good point. Yes, it's a good point. Good point. Yeah, good point. So 32 minutes to go. We've had an hour and 28 minutes. Full course yellow still on the circuit after that incident that pitched the Mini into the tyre and through the tyre barrier at turn 1. Matt Pombo will get an update from them. Big crowd here this Super Saturday for racing. Hello to you all around the circuit, listening on 89.9 and watching yourselves on the one of 3 jumbotrons that VIR have placed around the circuit this weekend, thanks to Kerrigan Smith and Connie Nyholm and the rest of the organising team here, who I know have put in a lot of work for this event, and hopefully it has paid off in terms of spectator numbers. There was a very large crowd here yesterday on Friday, and lots of people coming in first thing this morning, and they've had good entertainment. Just slightly turned off the entertainment for the moment. Exit at turn 12, a great place to watch for the spectators. Car corral's pretty full as well. Still think the Corvette corral was slightly the fullest this morning, fuller. Not coming back to green this time around. Robin Liddell is pulling up alongside the GTR, wondering why we're not going back to green, and I'm sure that Shea is hustling in the pit lane to find out what's happening and what's holding us up. There's no work going on that we can see around the circuit. I've just seen now extra machinery at turn 1 and the Porsche GTS Cayenne on scene from the IMSA intervention. So still some detailed tyre to be done. So that wasn't finished when we saw those tyres piled up in a rather untidy manner. Field just about to come through that area of the circuit. So my thought that the race control wasn't entirely happy about the turn 1 situation. And they've sent out another machine to do that, a slightly smaller one that can get behind it. Or they've moved the other machine around the back. I can't tell which at the moment. But that's why we aren't back to green so far. A warm afternoon for these drivers, and driving at slow speeds without the air being able to come through the car at the normal pace. That will be possibly troubling 1 or 2 of the drivers. They'll just be wanting to get underway now, getting hot and sweaty under their racing helmets with all of the garb that they have nowadays. Although, that said, the technology in race underwear and race suits has come a very, very long way indeed. The latest generation of race suits about a quarter of the weight of what they were not that very long ago, Jeremy.
You're right, and it breathes so much better now.
And the underwear does as well, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, agreed. It's the little things that, you know, perhaps people slightly further away from the sport than we are, we kind of take it for granted, but it's those little incremental improvements on all parts of racing drivers' kits. Helmets have got a lot lighter. Hands devices have made things a lot safer. And then things like the underwear that wicks, and the race suits, still fireproof of course, but that allow you to breathe in the car, allow your skin to breathe in the car, just means that you can go longer. And even a relatively unfit driver, actually not driver, someone who drives a race car, for I am not a driver, into, I was going to say into the pit lane, but no, he's still out there. That's the number 4 of Guy Cosmo. Yes, even a very unfit person who drives a race car occasionally, like myself, to do an hour and 10 minutes in a GT car, able to do that without a drinks bottle as well. Mine, in fairness, that was at Snetterton and wasn't probably quite as warm as this, but it was 550 horsepower Aston Martin DBS, which was a lot of fun. Pretty leery, actually. 140 miles an hour twice around Snetterton, which was very interesting. A little bit of frustration, I think, now from the drivers. And wishing they'd taken their e-readers with them to read a chapter or two as they were driving around. Under half an hour to go now, Jeremy.
It's certainly good to see that number 4 car, the JKTG Foundation, set up by Ted Giovannis and his wife, into medical research, and particularly cancer research, medical history as well. And he's done a lot for, not only for the sport, for also that foundation as well, and concentrating on his race team this weekend, of course. And good to see that Guy Cosmo and his co-driver Hugh Plum really are in with a shot to win this thing now, because they've got a pretty fast car. They haven't been as fast as the 2 cars ahead of them this weekend so far, but hey, this is a race up for grabs.
Down in the pit lane, I think that was the TGM pit there. New set of Continental tyres, so I wonder if Guy has a problem.
Well, he was that was the first of the leaders to come onto pit lane, but I wouldn't have thought he would need any more fuel. He might feel that a fresh set of Continental tyres would give him a jump on everybody else, but he'll be giving up a lot of track position. He'll fall from third to the 11 cars on the lead lap.
He's 4th in line at the moment, behind Trent Hinman, who is desperately trying to get his lap back. He's right ahead of Dean Martin, and he would drop a very, very long way back, as you see it. Well, into the pit lane, the 68.
That's a couple of laps down,
so that's not an issue. And that looks like tyres, looks like the left rear might not be. No, that's moving around rather too much on the hub for the man with the wheel gun's liking. So they'll take it off, have a look at the hub. They've got time, taking round about 4 minutes for a safety car lap, so plenty of time, no need to rush here. 25 minutes to go. Sitting down in, it's Kenny Wilden, by the way, who brought that car in, sitting in 28th position, and the last car still running, but scored, of course, in 13th position in GS, because although they've got all of the ST field ahead of them, they are still in 13th position in their class. Oh, spanner's out. Yeah. So maybe it wasn't the wheel moving on the hub, maybe it was the suspension arm moving, inducing a little bit of rear wheel steer, which can be a tad off-putting. Another car with medical connections there, the Advanced Cardiovascular Unit at Tampa.
Yes, Dr. Rod Randall drives his car with Kenny Wilden.
Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhoff in the booth. Adam, that car was in the wars earlier on, I think, was it not, the 68 car?
Yesterday in the final practice before qualifying, when the 2 cars had it coming together, and it was Rod Randall's 2nd time driving the car, I think I was told, of the weekend. But yeah, they managed to get all that damage repaired. This, I don't think, is from the same incident, though.
Hard to know, isn't it, really? Race cars are fickle things sometimes. Would you like some good news, Shea?
Okay.
Safety car lights are out.
Ooh, that is good news.
Right, on your toes, because something's bound to happen.
Which end of the pit lane should I go stand
That
at?
I can't tell you. If I knew that, I would have been $729 million richer last weekend, because I would have picked the 6 numbers, wouldn't I?
Well, technically you would have been half of that richer, because you would have had to share it with the person who did get the right numbers.
Fair point, well made and beautifully presented. Still, half of it would have been fine. Thanks very much. Robin Liddell then now has to switch back on and plan and scheme again. Last time he got on the power in the 57 Chevy Camaro from Stevenson, in between 15 and 16. Just running out of 16 into 17. He's backing the field up. He's allowed to do that. What he's not allowed to do is speed up and slow down. As he comes through the roller coaster, he's keeping a steady pace, allowing the Nissan safety car to get away so they can time his run to the line quickly. It's going to be about 22 minutes to go, and he's on the throttle. Exactly the same point that he did before. Maybe a tad earlier. The Nissan is in the pit lane. He's not going to have to worry about the overlap. But this time, Dylan McEvan is a little closer. Oh, there's damage. Damage to the back of the Stevenson car. The left rear of the bumper is in the wind at the moment. And going down to turn 1, it is blowing out as if it was a parachute. Now, when has that happened? Surely not behind the safety car. But it must have been that. That's extraordinary. Has he had a tap from behind? That's the only thing I can think in the safety car queue. And he slides the back end of the 57 car. The GS field went through 3 abreast with the McLarens and the Porsche of Damien Faulkner, who's had a cracking restart up into 8th position and ahead of his teammate Mark Miller, and now 3 McLarens ahead of Damo, and he's closing in on them, and he's dragging the 33 with him in ST. Owen Trinkler had a good restart from Tyler Cook, and the very fast Audi of Pierre Kleiner being Britt Casey Jr. in the 27 Mazda. So drama, Jeremy, at the head of the field. All of that running behind the safety car. We didn't notice that there was damage to the left rear. Shea Adam, news from the pit lane. Shea.
The 57 has been alerted that they do need to maintain that bumper. It either needs to come off the car on the track of its own accord, or it needs to come into the pit lane and be ripped off. They are getting ready for the car to come in the pit lane if it doesn't fall off on its own soon.
Any news about how that was caused?
They were hit by the 28 behind the safety car.
No way! Oh, dear me.
You said the number 57 car didn't slow down. I wonder whether it did.
Well, out of our sight, yes.
Yeah.
Well.
It didn't seem to be keeping a constant
Well,
speed.
it might not be that much of an issue, because the 65 of Tim Probe at the Porsche in ST 14th position is way off to the infield. And he's about as close to the middle of the 2 parts of the track as he could possibly be.
Yeah.
And he's taken a wild ride to get in there. Looks like another turn 10 incident. Well, he's got back on again. White flag is waving. It's both sides of the bumper now. The whole bumper is about to fall off. Now, it could do Robin a favour if it just fell off, but he will be getting the black and orange flag. Well, Robin will be absolutely fuming if he got to come in and gives away a race lead with 20 minutes to go, and the person that is going to benefit is the leader of the championship who caused the damage in the first place. As into the pit lane comes a Porsche. That was Connor Bloom in the 18 car. Stephen McAleer back into the pit lane as well for the 25 Mazda, and the bumper's off. Oh no, it's not. Only half the bumper's off.
And that's certainly not good where it is right now. I mean, that is pretty dangerous, hanging there off the back of the car on both sides now.
Correct. They're not very thick.
I'm afraid
but that's got to come in.
Yeah.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane.
Yeah, just talking with the teams, when they were testing the car initially, they had an issue where the bumper fell off on its own, so they made sure that it would not fall off by securing it in the middle. So
yes, and I can see that strap in the middle, Shea. You're spot on. There's a red strap, and that's the only thing that's holding it on, and that's going to cost them a race. That's going to cost them a race victory, unless Dylan McEvan does them a favour and runs over it. He's right up the tail of that car.
What they've done is moving that car around in defence there to making sure there's no way.
Trent Hillman all of a sudden thinks he's got a half a chance of getting back on the lead lap here, Jeremy, because if Robin goes into the pit lane, which he surely must, then he's only got 1 Porsche to pass, and he's back on the lead lap.
Yeah, he won't bring it in until he actually sees the black flag, so he's going to try and stay out.
He's going to lose the position anyway. It's obviously affecting the handling and the straight line speed of that car, and the black and orange flag is out over the start-finish line for the 57. Through goes McEvan, and also through goes Trent Hillman. No, Robin fights round the outside, and it's side by side through turn 1. Liddell goes wide. Now he's got 1 Porsche that's gone by him. Into turn 3, he's got the inside line, but I can't believe he can hold on to that. And the championship leader leads the race as well. What drama here, Jeremy, what drama. And this will be a talking point. We have not seen the incident that has taken the bumper off or loosened the rear bumper off the 57 car. But if it was indeed behind the safety car, and it was indeed the 28, Well, that's going to cause a talking point, isn't it? Because the 28 is at the moment benefiting from that black and orange flag. 3 laps before he's got to come into the pit lane. Oh, one big strap that they have fixed onto that is holding it on. That would have been gone 2 laps ago. You can't write these scripts, can you?
No, they're quite remarkable. And Dylan McAvan there has been a little bit defensive, and well, you know, just he's not pushing the car to the limit. But I tell you what, Robin Liddell is absolutely pushing his car to the limit.
If I'm Dylan McAvan, I think if Robin gets close enough, I'll let him go back through, because you know he's got to stop. And I don't want any argy-bargy.
I want to be clear of it.
Well, yes, if you can.
Here comes Trent Hinman now. He's going to make a move to the inside, but on the left-hand kink into the right-hand. Not able to make that pass, so the lapped car of Trent Hinman remains behind a second-place car, Robin Liddell.
I've just spotted a couple of yellow and red flags out at the top of the hill there. Shea Adam may be able to tell me why the slippery surface flag has been deployed. Shea?
The 18 RS1 Porsche that was badly damaged in that crash, that was the first yellow flag, just came onto the pit lane, dripping a large trail of oil behind it, smelling very bad and with a lot of white smoke. So that would be why, and it left quite a bit of oil out around the circuit as well. The 65 has made it back into the pit lane, and it too is dripping fluid from beneath the back of that Porsche, so not a good time right now.
It's Connor Bloom and Tim Probert in the...
Cosmo, how did he fall back that far? He went off the previous lap. Okay.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Jeremy. You're right, he was right there. Dean Martin now back up into 3rd position. And by the way, Trent Hinman...
he was off in the final sector on that lap somewhere.
Well, I wonder if that was the oil that we were talking about, because that's where I saw. And Robin Liddell went wide, didn't he, the previous lap. Trent Hinman has got past Robin Liddell and now has a couple of seconds and less, perhaps, between himself and the leader to get back on the lead lap, having really missed the chance to be on the lead lap earlier on, and they really will be kicking themselves now, Jeremy, because Trent has got some pace in that car. Damien Faulkner continues to lap well. He's up into 7th position with Mark Miller just in behind him.
Yeah, the other guy's on the move. There's number 54. That's Stephen Simpson.
Yes.
He's up into 4th place in the class. That would be equal that team's best result. Sharing with Michael Johnson, paralysed from the waist down. Yes, paralysed from the waist down, chest down, I should say, is Michael Johnson, who drove his first stint in that JDC Miller Motorsports bright yellow BMW.
So Robin Liddell, I know that he will be talking to the team. I thought I saw the black and orange flag a couple of laps ago, but that was a fleeting glance of the starter stand. Shea's going to go and have a proper look as they come round this time, round the final corner. Oh, it's so nearly falling off. So nearly falling off.
Such a shame they put that strap on there.
Well, it had been gone 3 laps ago if it had, Jeremy. No flag at the start-finish line. No flag at the start-finish line, okay? Well, doing exactly the right thing. It's clearly hurting the performance of the car because it's working like a huge parachute behind the car down the straight. It's really slowing him down.
I wouldn't want to be following that, I can tell you that.
Well, he's pushing on. It's now the best thing it could probably do is sort of ingest itself under the car, get it under the wheels and pull the rest of it off. Extraordinary turn of events. Trent Hinman, by the way, right up on Dylan McAvan. Now, Robin Liddell still in 2nd place, but about to go to 3rd as Dean Martin gets up alongside, tries to go on the inside. And Robin will presumably know, because the team will be telling him that he's going, why is it not pulling down the straights? And they're going, because you've got the rear bumper falling off. All of the marshals watching very, very carefully to see if it falls off. They have to put out a debris flag. We're inside 13 minutes. Yes, 13 minutes just on to go. Battle for ST is hotting up again with Owen Trinkler and Tyler Cook. Owen has driven a sterling race, as did his teammate Sarah Cattaneo before that, having got up to the lead, dropped to 2nd, then dropped all the way down to, I think, 6th. Fought her way back up.
And both of these two teams are looking for an overdue first win on the season.
Pierre Kleinebing, though, is the man on the move again. That Audi very quick. He's dropped back from this leading pair, but his first sector there was very quick indeed. Tyler Cook doing that car's best lap of the race last time around, that car being the 84, the black and white BMW, going out of the Oak Tree corner now. ST battles all the way down the top 10, by the way. McEvan by 1.8 seconds. Robin Liddell somehow managing to wring lap times in the 57s out of that car, which I'm finding extraordinary. Spencer Pumpelly going up the outside of Britt Casey Jr. down the long back straight as the ST leaders coming down through the roller coaster and into Hogpen, the last corner, almost 2 corners really, 17A and B. And after all kinds of trials and tribulations this week that has barely seen the 44 Nissan on the track, Sarah Catania qualifying just 3.5 tenths away from pole position after just 4 laps in the car before going out to qualify. What an extraordinary turnaround this would be.
Yeah, and we heard Owen Trinkler talking to us. He's been in the booth several times this weekend and told us he had a really good feeling about this race. He loves this racetrack. This is pretty much his home racetrack from Tennessee, and he loves coming here. Does a lot of instructing here, actually conducting a school here next couple of days, I think, isn't he?
Yeah,
so,
Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, so you know, it's a place he absolutely adores. The car's working clearly very, very well around here, but it's also a home race for the Bimmer World team. They're based
Correct.
only 100 miles or so away in Dublin, Virginia. So you know, both of these 2 cars, leaders in ST, have local connections.
Owen Trinkler with his best first sector of the race, and that's helped him to ease out to just over half a second of a lead. Remember, just front tyres replaced at that one and only pit stop for the Nismo, or the Nissan Altima, the 44, the bright purple car. Robin Liddell's just gone through and still has the bumper barely hanging on. Meanwhile, Trent Hinman is with the leader. And McEvan now does need to let that car through, Jeremy. There's no point in him fighting Trent Hinman at this stage of the game. With 10 minutes left, yes, it's going to put Hinman onto the lead lap, but he can defend, but he doesn't want to defend too stoutly that there's any kind of coming together, because this is a nailed-on victory right now for the championship leaders.
Indeed so, you're absolutely right there. And number 76 car lost a bit of ground on that. That must have had some sort of in the middle sector, 8 seconds lost by Matt Plum, former champion, the most successful driver in this championship with 22 wins to his name.
Nico Ronde
is his teammate,
and he's in 4th, and he's just done the fastest lap for the 77 McLaren as he tries to close in on the leading trio. Intriguing last 10 minutes in store. Stay tuned to us here, Sound and Vision together on IMSA TV and radio. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhaugh and Shea Adam live from trackside at VIR. And Robin Liddell trying absolutely everything to stay ahead of the 59 of Dean Martin, the Chevy Camaro, with a slight disadvantage in straight line speed, and Dean Martin's got position this time. He's up to the rear wheel, he's up to the driver's door, he eases up side by side as they come into the braking area, and surely Robin Liddell can't hold on. He's going to try, he gets to the apex first. Great driving from both of those drivers, and Robin Liddell will not be denied this second position. My goodness, that was brilliant stuff from both. Absolutely not a paper's width between them. I thought Martin had got it there, but Robin Liddell got to the apex of the middle of the roller coaster at turn 14-15, quickest and earliest, and was then able to hold on. 8.5 minutes to go, Jeremy.
Yeah, that was really good driving, wasn't it, by both of those 2? And you're right, the Ford had the advantage going through that left-hand kink, but the next corner, turn 14, is the right-hander.
Correct.
And that's where Robin Liddell was able to brake deep enough to keep himself alongside. Just no room for the Ford to turn in, so the Chevy maintains his advantage and that narrow second place.
And I can't believe that bumper is staying on. They've clearly fixed it on way too well. They need to learn from touring car teams where you have 2 fasteners that hold it on. If you get one hit on it, it falls off.
They're allowed to continue like that, to be perfectly honest.
Well, yes, I wonder if the circumstances of it happening is informing the decision or non-decision thereof from race control. We haven't seen what happens. They may have.
Oh, I mean, whatever, it's affecting number 59 car behind him. That's for absolute surety.
So here at VIR, we've got 7.5 minutes to go, and Robin Liddell fighting in immense rearguard action. Dylan Matchevin is still out front. To check and tell you whether Trent Hinman has got by yet.
Not yet.
Right. Trent will be trying because he's only a safety car away from making up positions, and therefore getting more points.
Look at that bumper flapping around.
How's it not come apart, Jeremy? How's it not, split at least into two?
Yeah.
And at that point, it's all right. If he can lose the biggest part of it, he's probably going to get some performance back as well.
I'm sure, yes.
I've never seen anything like this. And I remember I worked in British touring cars for a long time, and bits of cars hanging off was an every race occurrence back in the Super Touring days. And Dylan Matchevin is under pressure at turn 1 and 2 at the Horseshoe. He slides a little bit wide. And I think if that was a pass for position, Trent Hinman might have been a little more aggressive there, but he's laid back from the RS1 machine, knowing it's the leader. Has to make this cleanly. Has to make this cleanly if he's going to go through.
Yeah, and Hinman on previous lap set his best lap of the race, actually, in that number 12 car, but still unable to find a way past number 28. And the two Dylans here, brilliant first stint by Dylan Murcott and now Dylan McIvern doing continuing the good work. And they've had 3 second place finishes in a row, John. They lead the championship. This is exactly what they want here as a win.
Yeah, and what they've got also, Jeremy, is cars between them and their championship rivals.
Many cars.
Yeah, exactly so. And where's the next car? The 77 McLaren, that's sort of with a shout there. Then you're looking for the 33 really then, aren't you? And that's down in 7th position at the moment. Although presumably Damien Faulkner, if he can't drive away from Mark Miller, will be asked to give that position and a few extra points to the 33 car. Teammates, of course. It's now like a black plastic bin liner sack. That's rear bumper. Now, you see, now you've got a problem. Pieces of it falling off, and it is piecemeal. Now, is that more or less dangerous? I would say it's more dangerous.
Ridiculously dangerous, quite frankly.
You could cut the tyre on that.
Yeah, but if it flies off, it flies into the, at best, probably the grille, the radiator of the Ford right behind it.
Yeah. I'm sure that John Stevenson is saying to race control, oh, come on, you've got to leave us, we've only got 4.5 minutes left. And without that, we would have won the race. And I don't doubt that, by the way, that they would have won the race without that bumper coming loose or being forced loose. Nico Ronde turning some of his best laps of the race in the 77 4th place McLaren. Meantime, the ST battle is hotting up as well. 26, Andrew Carbonell has Spencer Pumpelly ahead of him. They're going into the Oak Tree corner now. How's the 17 car got back up to 8th position? Ahead of that, the championship leader, Eric Voss, only in 7th position. James Vance in the 37 Mini ahead of them. Then Greg Lee-Fergie in the 81 BMW.
Yeah.
So there's all changed there.
Foss and Pumpelly together again, 56 and 17. We've seen that an awful lot this season, haven't we?
We certainly have. Not the worst result for James Vance, for Eric Voss and Jeff Mosing, because again, they might not be getting full points, but their championship rivals aren't doing that much better than them, if at all, in fact.
Correct.
So again, look to the big picture, as we said in our keys to the race. 3.5 minutes to go. Owen Trinkler goes through, leading ST.
Yeah, edging away now, inching away.
And he's just done the car's fastest lap of the race, a 2:05.1. Dean Martin thinks he's got half a chance on Robin Liddell and puts in the fastest middle sector of anyone through the race. That's extraordinary. He's now just 0.042 of a second behind Robin Liddell. That is literally on the bumper. Well, the bumper's actually 4 feet behind, so he probably is inside the rear bumper at the moment.
The number 81 car of Gregory Leefuger just found a way past the Mini of James Vance in the 37 car.
Oh, and it's just gone very wide at NASCAR turn 3. but James Vance is too busy trying to defend. Looks like the rear tyres on Lee Fergie's BMW aren't giving him the grip he would like. Mini, Porsche, Mazda. There are 4 cars together, 16 wheels, and they are going past us and you, wherever you are around the circuit, quicker than I can actually see it. They're so close together. And through turn 10, and heading up the hill towards the very tricky this weekend Oak Tree corner. Still Robin Liddell. Well, there's less bumper behind him now.
Yeah, it will be white flag next time around.
Well, I wonder if Shea is going to be brave enough to stick the microphone under Robin Liddell's nose and ask him what happened. It's still slowing that car down. Trent Hinman hasn't got past Dylan McAvan, by the way. He's done a lot of driving already today, and in fact, he's got another race to do, hasn't he, Trent? So he may be just thinking, I better save myself for later on.
Yeah, well, he knows even if he gets past now, it doesn't really mean anything.
Exactly so. Exactly so. Had to do that on the restart, really, didn't he?
Yep.
Had a good shot at it, in fairness. So the 28 Porsche leading for RS1 and leading the championship coming into this Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. Will see the white flag this time around. There's 3.27 miles of VIR to go.
Where's the Ford?
Still to come through.
There it is.
Ford has dropped back.
Ground.
Ford has dropped back. Dean Martin's dropped it in the... Yeah, lost 5 seconds in the final part of the circuit, and that's put him right with Nico Ronde. Ronde is in with a chance of a podium finish here, Jeremy. Oh, and a slam down the inside from the Mazda of Andrew Carbondale on Spencer Pumpelly. Leaders are right there as well.
Other way around, that was Pumpelly continuing to try and make moves, I think, forward. No, you're right, I beg your pardon. Was 26 going to pass 17. Number 17 car's made a lot of progress. He's got past, on that last lap, the number 56 car, Eric Foss, the championship leader, who's also been overtaken by number 26 car.
Yes, and all of a sudden, Eric Foss down in 10th position, but still scoring points. Remember, they had a handy, if not comfortable, lead of 14 points coming into this round.
Yes, over, no more than that, no, 23 points over Nick Lance and Spencer Pumpelly. So they're only giving away a few points to the number 56 car.
Yeah.
And number 73, which is next to the championship, is a long way back.
Yeah.
There's a huge run there that Cayman has on the Mazda.
On the final lap. Oh, there's a touch at the roller coaster between the Freedom Motorsport car and the leader is right behind them. Now they'll get another lap, of course, if the 28 car doesn't go by, and I don't think he's going to. As the ST leaders have just seen the white flag, here comes Dylan McAvan. Is he going to deny these guys an extra lap? He is, and that could be really, really important. He goes through and passes a gaggle of ST cars, and the checkered flag waves for the 28 RS1 team. And the Dylans are through, 2.7 seconds behind at the end. Robin Liddell put in a couple of great laps of 57.1. So without the incumbents of the aerofoil style rear wing that was working as an air brake, Robin Liddell putting in a really quick lap there at the end. Dean Martin comes through into third, holds on to third, but only by half a second from Nico Ronde and the McLaren. Now ST, Owen Trinkler with a second on Tyler Cook. They're halfway round the last lap. That gives us the opportunity to follow them all the way through up to turns 11 and 12, Oak Tree. Trinkler now just has to keep his cool. He'll be hoping that that new gearbox and the synchros holds out. He'll be listening for any odd noises, trying to watching his mirrors, watching his shift points.
The most experienced driver in this championship. This, I reckon, is 137th start, looking for win number 8. This will be win number 4 for Sarah Cattaneo with less than a mile to go.
Coming into the roller coaster for the final time for the CRG I Do Borrow Nissan Altima. And either he's hearing every rattle and scrape, or he's gone blissfully deaf at the moment, and even if it burst into flames, he wouldn't lift off to get to the checkered flag here. It's not going to be any of those. It is going to be a win in the sunshine and a great comeback story for a Nissan and a Nissan track. Sarah Cattaneo brought the car in and handed it over in good enough shape to Owen Trinkler, and Shea Adam is down in the 44 pit.
Well, for Sarah Cattaneo, getting out of the car at Road America, it wasn't a great stint, but it ended up being a great day. Sarah, you got out of the car, handed it over in perfect condition. Now you have a win at Nissan's home track. How cool is this?
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. I can't even believe it. It feels like a dream. Honestly, this past few weeks, Road America getting engaged, now winning, like life couldn't be better.
There are tears in her eyes, John. There will be a big celebration here tonight. Congratulations, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and a great drive early on from Sarah. Did lead the race, went to second. Then a slight loss of concentration saw her off at Oak Tree and dropped down. She didn't panic. She worked that 44 car back into contention. And Owen Trinkler, the closer, as we will have to start calling him now, was very impressive indeed. 28 car, the Dillons, has won in GS. We'll get a chat with them in a moment. And 9/10 of the 57 Chevy Camaro with Robin Liddell has come back into the pit lane. There's still that middle section hanging on that strap that the guys from Stevenson fastened on there. They'll be kicking themselves that they made that work so well. Let's go down to the RS1 pit. Shea Adam has the Dillon that's not in the car.
There was a big scream from Dylan Murcutt. Congratulations, you came in leading the points. Now you've got a win to go and back that up, and man, you got an even bigger points lead. How hard was that?
That was a huge day for us, man. Opening stint, I was trying to keep the car clean for him. I got the best co-driver in the field. Just a huge, huge day for us.
How good does it feel to get that monkey off your back in the first win?
It feels great. It really does.
Smiling from ear to ear. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking in good shape for the championship without a win. Now with the win as well, that just adds an extra little bit of spice. Owen Trinkler, hand out of the window there. Some of the people that he will be doing his driving school with on Monday and Tuesday up in the lodges up there, and I'm sure they are going absolutely bonkers. And they will be taking tuition from a Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge winner in ST on Monday and Tuesday, right here on the circuit that he got the victory with Sarah Cattaneo. What a week it's been for a car that's barely been on the track. Gearbox issues, clutch issues to start with, or at least that's what they thought. They did all kinds of work on the clutch, and then once that was working, they found they had a synchromesh problem inside the gearbox, so that had to be resolved. And Sarah Cattaneo only getting 4 laps before planting the car on the front of the grid. And a great battle all the way through, we should say, with the Bimmer World guys in the 84 car as well. Robin Liddell, a fighting second position, but I'm sure, Shea, that Robin will think of that as a win lost rather than a second gained.
Yeah, Robin, I hate to ask you this, but what happened out there to make the bumper even come loose? You got a hit from behind by the 28?
Yeah, I mean, he hit me on the back pretty hard coming down the hill before the restart. You know, obviously we were accelerating and braking to keep the tires clean because there was so much pickup out there on the sealer. You know, we called it in and he said I brake checked him, which for sure I braked, but everybody was accelerating and braking at that point, and I'm not very happy on the basis that we know where the restart zone is. It was in turn 17 itself. We were still a good 100 yards from turn 17. So even if he thought I was going to get a penalty if I'd gone there. So I'm sorry, it's his bad, and I need to have a word with him about it because I'm not very happy about it. We obviously sustained some damage on the back. The exhaust sounded different, so I think we lost a bit of horsepower. And then obviously we got in the wars with the Mustang there. But you know, good race, good opening stint by Matt. Pretty tricky with the amount of pickup on the sealer out there, especially under caution where you're not keeping the tires clean. And to be honest, the balance of the car wasn't quite as good as I was expecting, but hey, I mean, second place, we're pretty happy. We had a good battle and had some fun out there.
Yeah, still 2 opportunities to win races this year. Thanks for chatting with us, Robin.
Yeah, well, that's going to be an interesting one for the officials to look at. Coming down to the restart. I have to say, I didn't see the contact, Jeremy.
No, I'd wondered about it because you could see that Robin Liddell was not maintaining a steady pace. That is what you are supposed to do behind the safety car. You're not supposed to be accelerating and braking. You're supposed to be maintaining a steady speed before the restart. Those are, I'm pretty sure, the way the rules are written. And so Robin, I'm sure he's upset because he has some valid points there, but I'm afraid they're trumped by the fact that you are supposed to maintain a steady pace. It doesn't make it easy for the restart because you want to be speeding up and slowing down, but that's not what you're supposed to be doing, particularly as the race leader.
Absolutely nailed.
And how he wasn't black flagged is just astonishing to me.
He'd absolutely nailed the first restart.
Yes, and that's why, exactly why, Dylan McIntyre behind him didn't want to lose ground to him.
Yeah. Well, that's a one that I think will be up for discussion in the stewards room afterwards, and possibly from you as well. Don't forget, after the WeatherTech race, we will have our post-race tech, so keep that one in your back pocket for Sunday. We'll try and chase that one down for you. Jeremy has been doing a quick piece of arithmetic. Yeah,
let's see, where do we want to start? Let's start in ST. Jeff Mosley and Eric Foss, they lose a little bit of their championship lead, but not by very much. They still lead by 20 points.
Right, so
over
just
Nick
3
Gallant.
points have disappeared.
Yeah, just 3 points have disappeared. 235 to 215. Third place remains Derek Jones and Matt Pombo. Everybody else is closed in behind them. James Cook and James Clay and Tyler Cook will move up actually a couple of places into 4th.
With that second position.
With that second position. In GS, the Dylans, what a fabulous day for them, and they finally come away with their first win. So, you know, nothing could be better than that, except for the fact they now have a 19-point lead over Till Bechtelsheimer and Mark Miller up into second place, 1 point ahead of both Cameron Castles, Trent Hinman, and Matt Keegan, Nicholas Rondet.
So still all to play for in the remaining races. My thanks to Shea Adam for the Continental Tire pit lane reports, and to Jeremy Shaw, who was alongside me, John Hindhaugh, in the IMSA broadcast booth. Hope you've enjoyed this production of IMSA and Radio Show Limited, as we've once again, for the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge, brought sound and vision together from trackside. Congratulations to our winners in both categories, the 28 RS1 Porsche and the 44 Nissan Altima from CRG, CDG, I2 Borough, Owen Trinkler and Sarah Catania. Both of those crews getting their first wins of the season. More racing to come in the 2017 season, and it's all live here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV.